Hey guys, unfortunately with this episode we had an audio issue. We tried our best to fix the sound and remove what echo we could. Every now and then you'll hear a slight echo throughout the podcast. We hope it doesn't affect your listening experience of this episode, and we appreciate all of you listening.
I don't know, like in in Nashville, like when you were bartending, did you meet a lot of did you run into a lot of famous people?
There's like girls.
I mean, no, dude.
Yeah,
That's
I
all being in Nashville.
I'm trying to think of who all because like we were right around the corner because like this was like big time during the middle of the pandemic. So like getting a job was tough, but you go down to Nashville, there's these two bars called Winners and Losers, and they're right on Division Street, and that's where like most everybody goes in Midtown. And the bar that I worked at was right around the corner of those, so it's like the cops never came.
Yeah.
And so like we kind of like didn't have a lot of regulations we about it.
Yeah.
So like it kind of secret got out, and a lot of people came. But yeah, I served later on, like I guess like after the pandemic, like was kind of over, all the regulations were released. Like you see more people out, but like I remember one time that I served Miranda Lambert. Oh, for real? There was a couple like TikTok stars, I guess, that would like throw parties there, buy the place out.
Yeah.
Trying to think, a couple big drug dealers in town, and you always know because they'd have cash. Like it's like here's 20 G's on my bill or whatever, and it's all cash.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
crazy.
Jesus Christ. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I ain't kidding.
I bet Nashville, like living in Nashville, like you probably do see I don't know if you lived there, like you probably see quite a few, I would think. Quite a few like
Yeah, no, you
celebrities,
do. Yeah, you
maybe
do.
more so than you would in
Yeah,
here in Kentucky.
for sure. Yeah, you see the same ones usually too.
Yeah.
Like, like if you go out to the same bars, they're the same ones, like frequent the same places usually. But like most everybody leaves everybody alone down there.
Yeah.
So you can kind of go in Nashville and just be yourself, go anywhere you want. Like I ran into Keith Urban at the mall or the movie theater with his wife, and he just held the door open for me. I was like, "Thanks." He's like, "You're welcome." I was like, all right, cool. I didn't even have like, I mean, and they can do that down there. Like I think it'd be weird if somebody like asked them for. It might not be weird, but I think they're just in Nashville you can kind of exist and
Yeah.
you know
Be left
people
alone.
just let you do your thing.
Just live life normally.
Yeah,
As normal as you can.
yeah, yeah. But then like you go to certain gyms or certain places, like like certain golf places, you'll see more people. But yeah, it's pretty normal to see somebody
Yeah.
that you've heard of down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't spent a lot of time in Nashville, honestly. Like when I was recruiting for the guard, we would go to the Nashville Mets down there. But aside from that,
Yeah.
some people go down there for like the weekend and stuff, and
Yeah.
I never have went down there and partied and hung out and stuff like that. But what's that like? Is it like wild, like 4th Street wild, or
4th Street has
Louisville?
nothing on Nashville.
Yeah, it's
I don't live down
it's
there.
fun. Yeah.
But I can
That's
attest to
what
that.
compared to. I've never been down there.
Put it this way, my very first weekend I lived there, I woke up in Vanderbilt Hospital.
What happened?
I don't really. Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. I was down there visiting. Well, I hadn't like fully got there yet. Like I had my bag at my buddy's house or whatever, and I went to college with this dude, and he's like, "Hey, I just found out this awesome information." He's like, "If you drink vodka sodas, it can't hurt you because you're hydrating yourself at the same time you're getting drunk." And I did what anybody 21 would do, and I just fucking believed it.
Yeah.
No sources, no references at
Yeah.
all. Like didn't check
Yeah.
the sources on that. And after about 19 vodka sodas that night, I found myself in quite a predicament. Like, plus, like I'm trying to keep up with like guys who are like used to this lifestyle. Because it's such a normal lifestyle to drink in Nashville because like that's where everybody socializes. There's nothing to do except
Yeah.
go to the bars.
Yeah.
And so, especially in music, that's like what everybody does Monday through Sunday. Is just go hang out, talk, and have drinks. So you really can develop tolerance. So if there's anybody like, I mean, I would say most of your guys that just go out and are casual drinkers in Nashville would easily be alcoholics. Anybody from around here, like
Yeah.
it's just like the relativity of like the location you're living in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't really think about it because everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just a common thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's one thing I could never do. Like live in a big city. I mean, and Nashville's not the biggest city, but it's getting pretty big. But like, it's just like, man, it just seems like there's a lot to do if you want to spend money. Like, you can't just. I mean, you can. I mean, you could go out and just enjoy a day and not, But I mean, I feel like if you really want to get the experience, Nashville, you have to really pay to experience Nashville.
I mean, what's the movie theater around here? Still $7 a ticket still?
I don't know. I
It was
haven't been to the
$7.
movies.
Yeah, probably like $7, $10 or something. I assume.
I
Yeah,
don't
probably about the
know.
same.
Last movie I went to, I snuck into, and this was 2 years ago.
I spent like $70 going to Opry Mills movie theater, like to see Wicked.
Yeah.
And it was like the tickets weren't that bad. I can't remember what the tickets were, like $15 a piece, maybe 20. But like to get a bucket of popcorn and a drink was like $30.
Oh, you gotta sneak that stuff in, man.
Well, we tried. Like we got all the things before. But yeah, the one thing you can't sneak in is popcorn. I mean, like, it's hard. And I really wanted popcorn that day.
That is crazy. That's how they get
Yeah.
you at like the theaters, man. Like the tickets not bad, but the snacks and the drinks.
Oh,
my
dude.
gosh.
That's how they get you anywhere, dude. You go to a freaking, it's like you go to a football game.
Yeah.
You go to get a piece of pizza, it's like $12.
Yeah.
I mean, just one
Yeah.
slice of pizza, and it's mid-hard pizza. Like, it's cardboard with ketchup.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
Green Cake School pizza.
yeah, for
$12
real,
straight.
dude.
Besides that
For real.
I'm on reduced lunch, man. When are we gonna do about this thing?
I've been charging this account for years, man.
That's the worst when you have a lunch lady pull you aside, like, hey, like, we've sent a letter to your mom.
You have to cut me off.
Like $30 unpaid on your lunch, and at that time, that's like $1,000 to you. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, we're never gonna financially recover from this. Like, yeah. I remember, I forget what summer it was. I think it was the summer between 7th and 8th grade that like we were buying breakfast pizza to take home.
Yeah.
So it was like, because the school would sell like, underprivileged families, whatever, they sell like $2 a tray.
Yeah.
For like breakfast pizza. We just keep it in the freezer. And dude, I love breakfast pizza. So I had no idea that we were struggling, dude. Like, I was like, this is the greatest summer ever. Yeah.
There was a place, like, apparently they quit selling it at the schools, I think. I don't know. But there was a place, it might have been, you remember that Swans?
Yeah.
That would come around, ice cream stuff. They tried, people had books, and they would do like I guess like those Pampered Chef parties or whatever, like Swans parties or something, I don't know. And they had those books, and you could order breakfast pizza out of there. But it was not the same. Like, it looked just like it, and everything, but like, I don't know if it's just one of those things, you could eat something somewhere at somebody's house and then buy it and bring it to your house. Like, this is awful.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those deals.
We might have been one of the only schools that did like just like that, because if you go to a gas station now, they'll have like breakfast pizza, but it has like bacon and eggs on it. And I'm like, no, this was just a square rectangular pizza, about that big around, and it just had sausage on it.
Yeah.
And it was, but like you just got used
so
to eating
good.
it for breakfast.
Yeah.
It was so
With
good.
chocolate milk.
Yes, dude. And that, like, that, I don't know what they put in that sauce.
It was the
Oh my God, it was so good.
Yeah.
Dude, it was delicious.
Dude, I worked at Snappy Pizza. That was my second job as a delivery boy. Snappy's. Yeah. And I had a gun pulled on me, by the way, at that job. This is the first time I ever got a gun pulled on me was delivering pizza. I had two. Second time. I've had a gun pulled on me multiple times, I think. Second time I was in Louisville, and it was after U of L beat Kentucky in one of the championship games. It wasn't a championship, it was like playoffs or something, one of the bracket games. And me and my buddy go downtown, and he's a big Louisville fan, and I had been a Louisville fan all growing up, and I don't really keep up with it much anymore. But we go downtown, and he's yelling FUK from the car. And thinking we're in Louisville, nothing bad's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's on our side.
Yeah.
Except for this one guy, apparently. was wearing a UK sweatshirt downtown in downtown Louisville and pulled a gun and shot at our car. Yeah.
Shot at it.
Yeah. Like, we hauled it out of there. Yeah, it was terrifying.
It's one thing to get a gun pulled on you, another thing to get a shot fired at you.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
crazy.
downtown Louisville.
Dang, dude.
Tuesday night. Yeah.
Did it hit the car or anything?
No, it did not hit the car.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
At least,
My buddy's
thank God,
good
he was a
driver.
terrible shot.
Yeah. Yeah, we swear we 007'd it.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, but no, the time I was delivering pizza, um, I went to the right house, but that's always a fear. You go to the wrong house, somebody pulls up on you, like packing heat. But sir, the pizza's steaming. No, but the lady that had ordered it, she was at work and she meant to have it ordered to her work, but she didn't like specify on the receipt.
Yeah.
And so I took it to the address on the receipt, which was her house. And her husband was home and I guess had worked nights, so he was sleeping during the day. So I pulled up on him and it was like sunset. It was about to turn night.
Yeah.
And yeah, he came out with a gun in hand pointed at me. It was like, "What are you doing in my house?" And I was like,
What do you do?
I'm here to deliver your pizza.
I thought you were gonna be like it was one of those instances where they were like faking delivering a pizza, but calling in like a domestic violence thing, being like, you know, this pepperoni pizza has a drinking problem.
He probably
Domestic
did.
violence is not funny.
Middle of nowhere or something, or
Somersville.
Gotta watch us out here.
it was Cody.
You want a pepperoni?
Yeah, probably some relation in there. Distant cousin.
Oh shoot.
We got it worked out. Yeah. She said, "I'm really sorry about that." I was like,
Dude, you know that guy to feel like an idiot. Maybe he didn't, I don't know.
They tip
But-
you good.
"I don't think so." I think it was just an apology.
Take that gun back down there.
And you were talking about like, you know, think
Yeah.
about that. It's like the best like, okay, say you were in Louisville, that guy pulled a gun on you and shot at you. Best thing to do with a bad shot like that, let him empty the clip and back over him. Think about that for a minute. Think about it.
One of those shots is bound to hit.
Not if he misses 10.
I don't know. You have.
We floored it pretty quick.
Yeah, I just got out there.
First thought was not, "Hey, let's go back. Let's see if we can reason with
I'm
this
on the
guy."
wrong foot.
See if he can hit us.
We need to go back.
He's
and see
obviously thinking clearly right now.
He's a rational guy.
Yeah.
He's such a chill guy.
Let's tell him we were just joking.
Right.
So,
Oh shoot.
so like traveling from like city to city, you know, like going to different venues and stuff. Like, what's been the craziest? Like, is there anything crazy like that happened? Like anything?
Yeah. Well, we did play City one time where a dude was carrying a gun in his back pocket. And he was like, he worked there. I'm like, dude, that is not a place to put a freaking revolver. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, in his back pocket. Like, did not have a holster.
Clearly
didn't
not
have
trained.
not on a belt buckle. Like, not in like. And like, I get like this club was like, he was like, "Oh, you gotta watch yourself around here." Like, yeah, but like, I think you need to watch yourself in that fucking back pocket of yours, brother. You sit down the right butt cheek. That thing's gonna take your kneecap out. Like, I've never seen something so reckless. And like, we were like, dude, should we like try? Not for our sake, for his. Like, but I was like, no, he's obviously not thinking clearly either. So yeah,
What?
but that was pretty weird. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Well, we never even introduced our guest here. We just kind of went right into it. I'd like to welcome Chase McDaniels, country music star, a dear friend, known high school through the years, done plenty of adventures. We'll leave it at that.
Former state record holder, right? For weightlifting?
Yeah,
Powerlifting?
yeah, different lifetime, but yeah, yeah.
I thought so.
No.
Yeah.
He outlifted Eddie Hall.
That's old school, right? Yeah. Yeah, I was back home. I told my grandpa recently. I was like, "Hey, thanks for training me and making my life miserable when I was in high school because it like made me cool in some ways. Like it made people like leave me alone. They didn't know I couldn't fight. They just thought I was strong."
You're real strong at one point too.
Yeah.
Like, what was your max like on? Would you do like Olympic style, or is it just like deadlift and?
I did both. Yeah, I did. Well, in high school, I just did like the powerlifting stuff. So it was bench, squat, deadlift.
Yeah.
And then when I got into college, I started doing Olympic weightlifting. Because my dream was to go to the Olympics.
Dude, we thought we were going to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was a family thing, I mean, like my dad, my grandpa, they all did it, and like they had a gym, so like I was training in like the basement or whatever. I was 4 years old, and like people asked me what's wrong with my legs. I'm like, well, my dad was making me squat when I was 5, so that's probably what it is. No, but that's just what my family did. So like I don't think I was better than anybody at it. I just been doing it my whole life. You know, it was just like if anybody else had been training from the time they were in preschool, like they probably would have been pretty good too. You know, I don't know. Like I think there's so many people who are like, oh, it's genetic or whatever, and I don't know. I was like, that's just all I did. You know. Yeah.
What injured or something?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was bad. And I don't know if I've ever told the school this, but like, dude, so I had like kind of like once we made the new gym at the school, I had like a deal with the principal there or somebody, the superintendent. I don't remember how to talk to, but I was like, hey, they knew I was training for the American Open. They knew I was trying to go to the Olympics and everything at the time. That was me coming right off nationals. Like they knew about all the championships and stuff. But like it still wasn't like really a sport in our hometown that we did. Like it was just kind of my thing, and then the football players did it too. But they would let me go into the gym, gave me a key or whatever, and I just go train over the summer when my coach, when college wasn't going on. And yeah, so I was lifting alone, recorded it, and passed out in my head. I woke up in a PET scan machine, and yeah, dude,
Janitor?
nobody found me. Like that's what's so scary. But that's like it changed my life.
Holy
Like
crap!
I never like until recently, like I always like laughed about it, but no, it actually like it changed who I was forever. Like because like you get really deep into that stuff, and like there's ego involved. You're like, oh, I can out bench press this guy. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
And but then like I was so obsessed with it, I wanted to be the best. I thought if I could just be the number one in the world, have a gold medal, that would make me matter. That would make me important. People would think that like people would give a shit about me. It was just such a teenage dream to think that like that would like take away all my problems. And in working so hard for that and being so obsessed about it, I denied my own safety protocols. Never work out by yourself, especially max out. And yeah, I did something really horrible. I had an accident and hit my head. Didn't know who I was for like 2 days. Horrible concussion, and that was the scariest part. Like you think like, what would you do if like you just forgot like literally who you are? I felt what that was like. Like you know what I mean? And like I was in a
what was it like coming back from that? Like
yeah. Well, I tried. I went back to the gym like the next week thinking this is what I've done my whole life. Like obviously I'm just gonna go right back to it. And I tried to do it's called a snatch. I know that's hilarious to people who don't know what it is. There's literally a clean and jerk and a snatch. The two best names they could have possibly found.
reach around. That's my favorite.
This one's called reverse cowgirl, actually.
This one's called Barbie on the.
Yeah. And I tried to do, I think it was a snatch, and it felt like a bomb went off on the left side of my head. And it scared me so bad, like I started crying and went back to my house, and I just laid in bed all day. And I didn't know what that was at the time. At the time, I thought, like, like, oh, I'm horribly hurt. I might have been still concussed. But what happened is I had my first panic attack. Like that's so, like, it was in revisiting the moment that, because now I have a little bit more memory. Like, I remember waking up now and, like, looking around being like, what the hell happened? And then I touched the back of my head, and it hurt so bad. Like, I realized, oh, I fell. And I'm looking around, there's 300 pounds on this barbell here. I just crushed myself. And so, like, I don't know what happened, but I'm putting two and two together. Like, oh, I just, you know, I might have just killed myself.
Yeah.
And by accident, and then I'm, like, running around, like, I have this on video, which is crazy. Like, because I was recording, I was going to send it to my coach and be like, look what I can do, coach. I'm so strong. We're going to win the American Open, And I'm running around, I'm like, oh, God help me, I'll never cuss again, And I grabbed my phone, I run out. Apparently, I drove to the hospital by myself and don't have no memory. And I pulled into a handicap spot, realized what I'd done, pulled back out, pulled into a regular spot, and then walked
I'm
in
not
and said-
handicapped.
And then they were like,
I'm just
And-
concussed.
and I told them what had happened to me, and they were like, well, and I remember I just kept calling this nurse. She was like a brown-head, and I was like, you're so pretty. Like, she's like, you're really concussed right now.
I was like, I'm a man.
Yeah. And I was like, they were like, you seem pretty with it, you realized you're not handicapped. You pulled into a regular.
We've been watching
Yeah.
film.
I think they gave me some Ativan or something to call, because I went into shock like 3 different times when I was there. Because like every time like I pass out, I wake back up. Where am I? Who am I? And they give me some stuff. We ended up going to Waffle House that night, Chavis picked me up, and I think it was Chavis and Wes Patterson and my girlfriend at the time and her mom, and everyone like like felt so sorry for me, like, but like at the time, like I was like high on drugs. I was just like, "Hey guys, what are we doing? Like, let's go to Waffle House or Huddle House." They're like, "You need to go to bed." I'm like, "No, I want some waffles right now." Yeah, I was like flirting with the Huddle House server right in front of my girlfriend. What are you doing after this? And she's like in the ribs and stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
fun
dude.
times, man.
Do you
Yeah.
think like before that had you already like thought about singing and where you're at now, or do you think like that event like kind of shaped your path? Does that
Yeah.
make any sense?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys remember I sang all the time. I just suck. The talent shows, I just never won. But no, I think so for sure. Because at that time, like, I think I'm a person like that. I find something, I get obsessed with it, get fixated on, it, and I want to be the best. But you can never do that with multiple things at one time. It's like you can only really pick one. And at that time, like I knew, okay, like I could go to school. I could do this weightlifting thing because I had a couple of college scholarship offers for that, and which was kind of weird because like not a lot of colleges did it, but a few of them had programs and were trying to build them.
Yeah.
And then I knew that I loved music and I loved to sing, but I didn't know which one I was really gonna take. And then when the accident happened, I was like, a lot of bad shit happened that year. There's a lot of bad things that happened literally that year, and which kind of took me to a really horrible, horrible, dark place that was just like, I had to dig myself out of. So,
Yeah.
and music was really how I did that. I just sit in my room and write songs. And at that time too, like bro country was all the rage. So I'm just sitting here like literally the worst day of my life, wondering if I'm gonna make it out alive. And I'm like, well, at least Cruise is on again, brother. Let's go. Like, baby, you was song. Which Cruise it's a great song. It's a great song. But there was just like nothing on the radio that like, you know, said something that like I needed to hear at the time. So that's why I was writing music. Yeah.
And like that's an awesome thing about music too. Like it's like there's a song for every emotion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're feeling happy, there's songs about happy. Like whatever you're feeling, like there's music out there that you relate with and stuff. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, there's like literally everything, like anything that you could possibly think of that's happened to a person. There's a song about it, and like there was a song I listened to here a while back. I never heard the band, Old 60.
Oh yeah, they're Kentucky, right? They're from
I
Kentucky.
don't know if I don't know
Yeah.
if they're from Kentucky. I
I saw
don't
them
know.
on
I've just
TikTok.
heard
Yeah.
two. I've just heard like two songs of theirs, and it came on.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking. There's a big TikTok. Like, breathing on another man's stain.
Yeah, they've got that's where "Thoughts of You" is one of their songs, and I heard that one on TikTok. And then this
It's
other
cool
one,
sound. Very rock, like rock.
yeah, and I don't remember what I was listening to or who I was with that it came on, and they have a song called "Brother Joe." And if you listen to that song takes such a freaking twist and turn. It literally, I never thought I would hear a song about what that song is about.
Really.
It is it's good, but it is not what you expect.
And it's old 60.
Yeah, Old 60.
Okay,
It's
cool.
called Brother Joe. And dude, it is. And like, just right then I was like, even then I was like, I thought I'd heard like everything that freaking music, like every emotion, something you've heard it all, like, you feel
Yeah.
like. And dude, I listened to that and I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's another level. I mean,
I think that's the cool thing about it, man. It's like, because there's so many things you can do. You can write from a personal perspective. This is what happened to me. You can write from somebody else's perspective. This is something I witnessed happen to somebody else. Or you can literally create a story out of thin air. It's like, and uh, I think I mean, it's just creative writing. And I wish like I had paid more attention in like Miss Altman's class. Like, it's cool about creative writing, but like I think it's like I just lived in that world. Like when I was like I loved country music so much. Like listening to Randy Travis, listening to Alan Jackson, listening to Brad Paisley, listening to Josh Turner. Like that was my imagination, like fantasy world was going into the stories of those songs. Um, and there was always a part of it like, hey, I wish there was a song that made like they that was more about me. And I think now we're finally at a time where like there's not just like this one program that's controlling what everybody hears. Like back then, it was just the radio, and I love the radio. I hope to be on the radio someday. Like that's was always my biggest dream as a kid. But the fact that like you can post a song now online and then the whole world can hear it, and there's nobody like holding the gate other than like you yourself and your own work ethic. Like it's just given so many people opportunities for great music to exist again
Yeah.
without somebody in an office telling you what's good and what isn't. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, like I know, me and you've talked here. It's like I feel like a lot of music that is being heard right now through TikTok, just people posting YouTube shorts, like stuff like that. They would have never. I don't feel like a lot of them would have got the shine that they get on there, and it's like it's weird,
Yeah.
and you never would have thought of it. I didn't, because I mean I've always watched YouTube videos, like just sitting there doing nothing else, pull up your phone, watch a YouTube video, and then when like TikTok and Shorts and all that stuff came out, dude, it's amazing how much your mind will glue to short form content. It is crazy. Like you watch I would rather watch 60, 30-second videos
Yeah.
than ever watch a 10-minute video on YouTube now.
It's hard, man. It's like, but I will say, like, it was literally created for that. Like, and I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Like, my love relationship with it is that, like, as a creator of those kind of videos, it's literally just within my ability and my capacity to put in the work to connect and engage with people who are like me, who have been through similar things, and we can have a community that is like purposeful to mean something. I mean, like what you guys are doing right now with this podcast is like it's giving you an ability to connect with people all over the world who relate to your way of living, our way of living, the way that we grew up, the things that we like, the things that we don't like, which is so cool. Like it's never existed in any other generation. But also like the short form content, it was literally made to be more addictive than a gambling casino. Like all the likes and the buttons and the noises and how short it is and the hooks of all of it. I mean, it's like it is made to make you feel like you have to have it. And so, like, I found myself, I mean, especially when stuff started moving, you get a viral video, dude, you might as well do crack cocaine, bro. Like when projects started going off, I'm like, oh, am I high right now,
Yeah.
dude? Like,
Oh, dude.
this feels amazing.
Oh,
Like,
dude, I know. I took in was just okay. I'll tell you. I was sitting in the
He got
recliner
crack cocaine.
upstairs and snorted a line, and but I was sitting upstairs and
it's just like a viral video.
God, I love this. I was sitting upstairs on the recliner, and me and Kate were texting back and forth. She wasn't home. She was like, "Hey, why don't you fold the laundry?" And I was like,
Oh.
"No." And I was like, "How about I don't?" And I was like, "How about I make a TikTok of your wife telling you to fold the laundry, but instead you go to bed?" It has almost 1 million views.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, this is like, I get like,
Better than doing
dude,
laundry.
I can, yeah. I was like, look at this. She was like, have you made any money? I was like, no, but look at all these people.
It's not needed. It's
Yeah, like I am right.
laundry.
Like I was like, it is weird. Like I wouldn't want to check my phone, but I would be like, I turned my notifications off, but every like 20 minutes I'd be like, man, I just want to see how many's on there. Yeah, how many is it up to now? And then like I would look and be like from 50,000 views up to like 120. I was like, holy crap. I was like, I'm just gonna put it down and go to bed. And I'd wake up at like 2:30 a.m. I was like, oh man, what's it at now? And then I'd roll over and check it. It is. It's like it scratches an itch in your brain, and you just can't get enough. It is, and it's bad because like,
What's it doing
dude,
to them? We don't know. We
no,
have no
you
idea what's
don't.
doing to them yet. Dude, I didn't get a smartphone until I was like until after high school. Like I don't even know if they existed. Like well, yeah, they did. They definitely did. Some people had them like freshman
I
sophomore
don't
year.
say. I don't think I think I got one like right after senior year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
towards the end of our school year.
Mm-hmm.
But like I didn't like it didn't exist still like it did
They
today.
had.
Yeah, it like was but like yeah, who knows what it's gonna do to people's brains? But I know what it did to my brain, and that wasn't good. Like, because like you go for a while, like I went through a phase where like for a year, maybe a year and a half, where everything I posted went viral.
Yeah.
And then it like the algorithm will change, and then you'll get less views, and then you think, oh, what's wrong? There must be something wrong with me. You know what I mean? And that's not true. Like it's made you like believe that you need this thing in order to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think I have a really weird theory on this, and I think it goes back to like social media probably was invented for like a very like wholesome cause. Like somebody like Zuckerberg, I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they're in their college dorm and thinking, oh, if we could talk to friends from China, like pen pals, that would be so cool. Talk to friends across. Somebody along the line saw big dollar signs because they saw that in America that people thought people who were famous were royalty. They thought they were gods. Like it wasn't just 30, 40 years ago. People thought Elvis and Michael Jackson were like demigods, bro. Like you get like if a girl touched Elvis's leg, she talked about it until the day that she died.
Yeah.
And so people always wanted to know what's it like to be loved that much? What's it like for everyone to love you? And then so somebody said like, well, hey, like if we give them a little buzz every time they get a like and make them feel like they just did black tar heroin, like it's like people are going to get addicted to that. And then now all you got to do is go online and you can feel a fraction if you build enough of a community of what it's like to go viral, of what it's like to feel that many people loving you. But what did all of those people do? They all crashed out. They all burned out. They all self-destructed. They all ended up on some kind of substances. They couldn't handle feeling that loved and then going home and being in complete silence.
Yeah.
And that's what it does to people. I think like, and so I had to download an app that like literally I can't get on it. Like after 11 p.m., like there's nothing I can do. It does everything down. Yeah.
That's smart, dude. 'Cause it literally is like a little dopamine hit. Like every
Yeah,
like
dude.
you post something and it's continually getting likes and
Yeah.
like comments and stuff. It is literally is like a little dopamine hit seeing like it going from like 30 likes to maybe a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And that's true. And it like very much is addicting.
Yeah. But I love it.
It's bad, but I can't get enough.
I'll also say this. I'll also say this. Dude, you take somebody like me, man, who grew up in Greensboro, Kentucky, who had no connections in the music industry, who knew nobody. I didn't move to Nashville with $5,000 in my pocket saying, look at all this mom and daddy's money I got. Who's ready to hear my music? I can record an EP. Like, I had nothing except for the free advertisement of social media. And so it has given the people who are willing to work for their dream job an opportunity to do that without this gatekeeper anymore. The music industry it was literally just a fraternity of like a bunch of rich people and like people in an office deciding what music was good and what it wasn't, and it's like now the world can decide. Like, and the fans can decide what's good. And like some of that's up to an arbitrary algorithm. We don't really know what it means, but like it's so nice to like at least have a shot
Yeah.
and be from fucking Greensboro, Kentucky, or to be from fucking No Name, Arkansas. It's like before, like you had to accidentally go to the same fraternity as one of these big country stars, or or be able to afford this college. In Nashville, there's like a bunch of music colleges, and then they meet somebody there in the music industry, but they're all $100,000 a year to go to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Out of
So-
touch for most.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then you lose the people that are able to write the songs that actually grew up like we did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, there wasn't nobody around here that had $100,000 a year to go to college. You know what I mean? Or like go to, how do you end up friends with somebody at, Sony or, or Warner Records? It's like,
You can.
crazy.
It's almost impossible.
It's like
Yeah.
social media has like changed the music. Well, I guess it's changed like almost every industry, but especially the music industry, because so like you said before, like you were able to broadcast your music to anybody across the world, so that gives you more exposure than you would ever get like without it. Like if somebody was a new aspiring artist and they wanted to get their music out there. I guess you used to have to like sell CDs or whatever, and now you can literally like post a video and share it to someone in Kuwait or China or something, right?
This a good song.
Probably exactly where it's going, according to our government.
Yeah, according to yeah. But like, it's not even. It's just everything. Like, okay, take it for example, like TikTok and stuff. There's a bunch of people on TikTok, YouTube, everything that does farming. They post videos of farming. Just from doing that, they've started getting those people to come to like the machinery shows or releases for new equipment. Come look at the new equipment at this show, and you get to meet such and such from their YouTube channel. And like they're just growing, like they're getting huge sponsorships. Like it's not just one thing; it's everything, and the brother of it is getting a huge bonus from this. I mean, like And there's people that I've watched on personally that I've watched on YouTube that do farming, and they started the YouTube channel just to kind of teach people the ways that they're being told that are bad and that they need to go against. But to show them that it's really not that way. They're not the ones doing that. They're being pushed on to do that by the big companies that are spread. And then the people are going against the big companies, but they're mad at you because you're the one using it. But if you don't use it, you can't compete. And if you can't compete, you're out. And these people have started, like making hundreds of thousands, if not millions, off of their YouTube channels. And that's became really the main thing. So really they're doing what they did beforehand just to keep all the money that they're making from the social media side of things. And I mean, it's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like it's almost like you're in an alternate reality. Like you're really working, but then you're posting the 10-minute video of your 12-hour day to actually pay for your 12-hour day.
I think it,
Oh, man, you blew my mind right
yeah. I'm thinking, I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, maybe my grandpa was still being farming if TikTok was around. He wouldn't have sold the farm back in '73 or whatever it was. Uh, but no, I think there's if only people knew the opportunity that was available in any industry, just by documenting your day. Like it's insane that like you can have that kind of impact just by literally getting on there, showcasing your personality, what you do, because people are interested and they're entertained by just knowing what different things are. And the entire world has been gatekept from us by the entertainment industry all of our lives. And now you have the opportunity to see what it's like to, I don't know, be a long haul truck driver, and you don't have to watch Ice Road Truckers to do it. You can see somebody's firsthand experience pouring the Mountain Dew in the damn Love's truck stop. You know what I mean? Or I mean anything like what you're talking about, like somebody going selling farm machinery at the farm machinery show in Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know, like
It's
what's
crazy.
that like?
It's like like talking about the trucks. It's like I've been around trucks. We have semis for
Yeah.
farming and stuff, and we haul some lumber and things like that. But it's like you don't even realize, like, I've never been on the road, like long haul, And I was watching a guy on YouTube that was a long haul trucker and didn't know this. Like, they have to literally wrap their seatbelts through the door handles and hook the seatbelts up at night because where people will break into your trucks or try to break into your trucks in the middle of the night while you're asleep. Dude, what kind of fear is that? You're in the middle of freaking Baltimore, Maryland, and some dude's outside with a freaking fully automatic AR or pistol, like wanting your coffee cup.
Maybe not even a dude. Maybe it's a prostitute.
Yeah.
She's just like gonna break in and like try
An
to
old
get you
lot
off and like,
lizard.
hey, you owe me $50.
Yeah.
You're like, you're half asleep,
A
dude.
lot lizard.
What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, yeah, you did it. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't remember. You were asleep. You owe me $50.
Must have been bad.
Damn it, not again. Should have hooked my seatbelt through the damn door.
Yeah, it's just like little things like that, dude. I mean, just in everything. Like, there's people that are line cooks that freaking film that, and they're like, that woman you hit on at Huddle House might have had one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Country music singer hits on me in front of his. Yeah.
but it's like, it's weird how it shaped our lives, and like how it shaped people's, or how it has actually changed people's thoughts about something that they thought was bad. It can intensify. They might actually watch it and be like, okay, this is everything I thought it was. And, or you could get somebody that doesn't do it that way in any instance, and they're like, okay, change their whole perspective. And instead of getting a group that's fighting against you now, they're like, okay, I understand, everything's being twisted towards this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that goes with a lot of things, not just that. It's like the way things are viewed now. Like, there's a lot of hatred and just back and forth, bitter arguments. I mean, just against all just everything, dude.
It's so entertaining.
You could tell somebody you like Coke and they like Pepsi and they'll shoot you. I'm like, dude, it's ridiculous.
That might have been why the guy pulled the gun, honestly. Dude, I swear to God, dude, this is not
Those
bro.
are the shut it
Yeah,
down.
But yeah, it's just it's weird, man. And like I think of it now, and I mean, what's it gonna look like in 10 years?
yeah, I don't know, and that's something I think about a lot, and I think about I doom scroll way too much. I had to delete everything over the holidays, and I do that frequently just because like I found myself like just going through, and I kind of just got to the point like my papa told me when I was home last time. I'm like, hey, I'm just like worrying about the future all the time, and he said this thing to me, and it worked for about a week, and then I went back to worrying about the future. Like he's the smartest man I've ever met. He goes to Burger King. He reads 8 hours a day. These philosophy books, and just God, I wish I could be that wise and know all the stuff that he knows. But he told me he's like the man who worries has caused himself to suffer twice. He's like life is going to cause you to suffer enough from what actually happens. If you worry about something that hasn't happened yet, you're causing yourself to suffer for something that might not even happen. And so allow yourself to suffer from the things that actually happen to you. And don't worry about what hasn't happened because you're causing yourself to suffer even more, you know? Yeah. And like I said, it worked for about 7 days. Yeah. I gotta remind myself of that every now and again.
That's
But
something, you said reading, 8 hours a day. That's something seems like it's becoming, scarce every day. Like people who actually read
literacy,
books.
yeah.
Yeah, man, people who read books. And I can't
Yeah.
even say like I read a whole lot. I read like one book a year. But
I haven't read a book in 14.
Can't do it. Audiobooks, man. That's the nice thing. You ain't got to read no more, dude. You just listen.
Kills me. Like I listen to all these. Like I guess I just fell for it. I'm an idiot. But have you ever heard like all these rich people? They're like, they're like, oh, this, if you read this book and that book and this book, it'll kind of open your mind up on how you could do things different and kind of use the tools that the government have put in place as taxes and all that stuff to turn it around and learn how to use those codes for your benefit. Well, I listened to 2 of those books and I was like, I must just be retarded because I cannot pick up on this. There was one called Rich Dad Poor Dad by
oh
Robert.
yeah.
I'd have to go back and think of his name. He's an older man
Yeah, I
and
know exactly what you're talking
he
about.
does real estate. And
I've read that book.
he was talking about all that, and I was like, this makes 0 sense. I guess that's why I'm broke. But I was like,
Oh, look it up.
he's talking about how he had his real dad, and he had a neighbor or a friend's dad that was rich, but he didn't go to college. He didn't do any of that. He used real estate and just kind of played the market.
Oh,
And
Robert Kiyosaki.
Kiyosaki.
I would have
Yeah,
never
that's his
remembered that.
name. Yeah, I knew his last name was Kiyosaki, but I couldn't remember his first. I was
thought it
wanting to say Dan.
Kawasaki.
But he and he was talking about how his dad was just traditional, went to college, 4-year degree, cut and dry, didn't agree with all the having no debt, get out of debt, get your house paid for, get a car, get your car paid for, put into a 401k or a Roth IRA, live that life. And then his friend's dad that was rich was like, I live on debt. He was like, I take debt, and debt is a tool. If you're ignorant on how to use debt, you will be broke. And I was like, it does make sense. I mean, basically his theory was buy real estate, build the real estate up, pull equity out of that real estate, put it into another piece of real estate. Then when that real estate builds up, pull equity out of that real estate and put it into another piece of real estate and continue to do that until you have like $15 million worth of debt. And you have all of this equity built up behind that debt. So, I mean, if something did happen and you did have to sell a piece of real estate, it would pay for your debts or whatever.
I feel like
But
I would do a lot of
fear
pulling and not a lot of
will get you to a point. It's because you've been told that so many times throughout your life. You're like, debt is bad. Do not do debt. If you're going to buy something, fix it to where you can pay it off in 5 years. Don't be risky. It's not a market to be risky in. It's never been a market to be risky in. But you got to have somebody that's willing to risk it. And the people that are willing to risk it will do it. But it's like when you get, and most of these people, that's another key thing. Most of these guys done this before they were married or right after they got married, when they didn't have kids, nothing like
Less
that.
responsibility.
And it's like, I'm at a point, like I've got a wife and kids, and it's like, a risk like that is just like, it's not in my cards.
Yeah, I
But
get
you
that.
know what I mean? But it's like, I feel like I can understand portions of that, like what they're talking about. But like going into that, like I could not imagine having to tell my kids and wife that, hey, we got to sell the house.
Yeah.
We've lost everything. Like, I got a box out back.
Have fun in the
I
car.
put together 4 55-inch Vizio TV boxes.
Where's the PlayStation?
There's the box of it over there. That's your TV dinner. It's raccoon.
Just beat Mario Kart. Dad. I was so close. Yeah, I've heard those things. Like, you build up a bunch of equity, and then you get a personal loan against your assets, and you live off the loan instead of your actual income. Like, I've heard of that. So, like, it's so far out of the realm of what we grew up in, what we were taught. We were always taught, hey, you get a job that pays you freaking 15, 20 bucks an hour, get with some benefits, you'll be like, just stay out of debt, don't like live within your means, don't buy a nice car, dude. Like, man, that's life,
But
dude.
what
Like,
kind of life is that? Like nowadays, 20
yeah,
bucks
it's
an
just
hour is nothing.
nothing. No, I know. Well, it depends on where. I mean, it's definitely nothing in Nashville, Tennessee. Like, dude, I like my first job in Nashville. I was working as a mental health care manager, making $26,000 a year, and like that was below the poverty line. Like I qualified for Section 8 housing or whatever under that job, and like everybody was like, hey, like we're like working like crazy hours trying to do like this like noble job, this noble thing. And like you're literally like, I think I was in like 100% debt from my college education at the time, which I barely graduated. But like there's no way you can pay off like I was behind every single month, doing that. And so I quit that job because I was like, hey, this is so stressful. Um, you're taking on a lot of responsibility for other people's health, going home thinking about it, not being able to detach from it, and then also like I'm drowning financially. And then after that, I did everything I could just music wise. I was in bands. I'd take my guitar, go to Bowling Green, play some shows, try to make a living that way. Because I was like, well, if I'm gonna financially drown, I might at least enjoy what I'm doing. And that's when I started to like hate the whole college system that I felt like I had been sold. Because at that age, everyone like when we were in school, it was what was that? It was like the No Child Left Behind thing, or I don't know if that was what it was a part of, but they sold college on us so hard. Like it was like if you didn't go to college, you were gonna be a nobody. Like good luck with your cardboard box is basically what they told us. And like all of us were like, okay, well we have to. Like we don't have a choice if we want to make a living. And like at the time, like my family made nothing, dude, nothing. Like there was no way I was gonna go to school. And of course, my dad passed that year. My siblings got some kind of grants or whatever, but because I was already 18, I didn't get anything. And so, but because my mom was like so far below the poverty line, I did get like quite a bit of grants and stuff. So my college was mostly paid for to where as long as I took out, I think it was like the unsubsidized loans or whatever, each semester was covered
Yeah.
for a living. But like, man, it isn't for everyone. And like, especially like me going there, a lot of bad stuff happened. I changed my major 3 or 4 times, a lot of family stuff going on, mental health issues, barely made it out. Um, but then found out the thing I got the degree in, I didn't even like to do as a job because it was too emotionally taxing. Okay, so now I have this degree in something that I can't even work in because I myself am struggling mentally. How am I going to go help this guy um, right now? And and still not even able to financially recover from the debt that I got myself into. So yeah, I totally agree that there's different paths for everyone, and I think a lot of us at that time got sold a bad deal. I'm not saying it was a scam. I think the college thing became that because almost every university you found out the guy at the top was embezzling funds or whatever, and like the campuses were beautiful, but why do you need the coolest statue and waterfall and everything like that to charge these kids? I mean, I think it was something like $24,000 a semester.
Western, I
Like
think it was like 22 at the time.
my parents didn't make $24,000 a year combined. Like so, it's like how does a kid that comes from a lower middle class family or below the poverty line, ever do something like that? How do you ever get into that? Because you can't, and I don't, and they don't consider that, and it's just a
Do they not
business of
consider it, or
making
do
the
they not
most money.
care?
They don't care. Yeah,
Exactly. That's what
because when
I think.
my grandparents were the first people in my family to graduate college, my mama and my papa that I say raised me,
Yeah.
and for them it was like I think it was like $100 a semester, and that didn't just cover tuition, that covered their meal, that covered their housing, it covered everything.
Wonder what that
So
would
it was
equivalent like a
right, yeah, I don't,
It's like, okay,
yeah, it would be something, yeah,
we leave a guy and him and his wife teachers. That's it. That's it. They have a humongous house, nice
yeah,
house, own a bunch of ground.
yeah,
They own 2 houses, and they're
yeah,
like, they're. I mean, they're not. I mean, it's in around here, so I mean, it's not like freaking owning one here and owning one in Cabo or anything. But like, still, they're like $300,000-$400,000 houses, both of them. And I mean, the land and stuff now would probably bring. I mean, if they got well over $1 million. And it's like, if you and your wife are teachers now, that's out the window. I
oh
mean, a
yeah,
farm, 100-acre. Okay, going to E-Town. Actually, there was a 200-acre farm on the left-hand side of Lincoln Parkway.
yeah,
Back a month or 2 ago, sold for $20,000 an acre. It's like
wow,
10 million.
yeah, that's,
holy
It's
cow.
nuts.
geez.
It's like it's well over. It's well into the million. And it's like, how does that pencil out? Like for me farming, it doesn't. I couldn't do that. Couldn't do it. Doesn't make any
that's
sense.
crazy.
Yeah, you better have a damn good World War III bunker on
Yeah,
the
you
line.
better have something.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I
It better be
mean,
stocked with freaking chicken noodles for this thing.
but dude, it's ridiculous. Like they try to sell you on the American dream now that was a dream in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
But that dream's broke.
The money.
Yes. But
You
I'm
know what I
saying
mean?
like
They found a way to play the system.
yes.
They got to the top, and now they're charging outrageous
Yeah.
prices for to keep the people
But see
that
like
are stuck.
yeah, but it's like back in the day, like your grandparent, they went to college, didn't cost them hardly anything. They were able to afford it. Their house, car. They probably lived a comfortable life. And they didn't really struggle. But like you take the jobs that they had and you get those jobs now and you try and buy that house. You try and buy that
No, you
car.
can't do it.
The house is $300,000. The car, if you go to buy a new car, what's the average of a new car price? Like $32,000, something like that, for just a
Yeah.
cheap 4-door sedan that's made of freaking soda cans. It probably has wood tires.
Brand new, made of aluminum.
I mean, literally. Like,
There's
it's sickening, dude. And then it's like, it makes me so mad. And then it's like people come over to America and they get treated better than the people that fought for America.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
gets
yeah.
on my nerves too. That kills me. Like I can't. Like you got veterans that literally have PTSD from fighting in wars, and they're homeless. But you bring somebody over here from another country and put them up in a housing unit in New York and give them
That
money.
absolutely destroys me with the veteran thing. And like of course, I've got some buddies that obviously have served, but I've met so many people doing my concerts too that have come up to me and said something about a song that I wrote or whatever. Um, and I've tried to put a lot more time into understanding some of that lately, and you know, I would never mention any names or like the actual like too much detail, but like I had a guy come up to me after a show one time after I played a certain song, and he just absolutely like countryest guy ever, like most masculine guy wearing a cowboy hat you'd never think would have a moment like this, and just broke down in front of me and said, "Man, I don't think I can make another day." Just like just to his knees, man, just like holding on to me, shaking, and he's like, "I just got back, and everything is I can't get out of bed. I can't like all the flashbacks and like all the stuff and it's hard for someone like me to sit there and be like, it's gonna be okay. You can make it through this because I've struggled with mental health my whole life. Like ever since I was a kid. Like that's been something that like I never was able to tell anybody how horrible that experience was. But you talk to somebody who is experiencing it as a product of something that they just went through that was probably more severe than anything I could possibly fathom. For all that I know, he might have lost his best friend right in front of him. He might have done something that maybe now that he's back in the States, he feels so guilty about that being in this environment feels like, how could I possibly have done that? That's not me. I'm in, like, I have a wife and kids, and like, I know that I did this in this environment. And so, and then now you're back at home where you have to go buy cheese at the grocery store, and you're like, this means nothing to me. I know my friends are over there fighting, and like, that's what really matters. Why am I over here buying milk? You know what I mean? And like, and so, like, like in those moments, like, I struggle to like find the right words because I know that what he's going through is beyond what I could fathom, but I also want to be what I need to be in that moment for him because I know how important that is. I know how much it matters. I know that his life matters, and I know that whatever he's going through, I know that he can get to the other side of it. I know that he can beat it. I know that PTSD is one of the worst things, but I know that it is something that also you can overcome, like with therapy, with the right counsel, with music. And so here I am holding this guy, just thinking, like crying with him, because I'm like, hey man, whatever you're going through, I want you to know that I'm not leaving right now. I'll be here as long as you need me to stay here with you. I'll send you whatever song you want to hear. Like if it's an unreleased song, let me send you some more music. Like tell me everything that you got going on. If you've never told anybody before and you feel safe right now, tell me what it is. I won't judge you. Whatever it was over there that you can't get over back here, let me know what it is. And I just feel so horrible for anybody that's going through that and then feels left behind once they get back home. That pisses me off to no
Yeah,
fucking
it's
end, dude.
ridiculous.
Like,
You put it
yeah,
all on the line and to
yeah,
come back for no help. Like
yeah,
nothing.
dude.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
And like even
yeah,
they're even talking about like doing something like they've noticed big changes in people that have had PTSD and stuff with microdosing mushrooms.
yeah,
And like they won't pass that. Like if it's something to help somebody deal with something, and I mean, everybody's mental state is different. I know that you can do certain things. There's people that can't. There's people that can't smoke weed. There's because they will literally have hallucinations that they cannot come back from. I mean, there's people that can't do anything. Like they can't do anything that trips their brain because that'll make them go from the smallest thing to the most extreme.
yeah,
But it just seems like there's no help for people like that. They just want to offer condolences and for the public image and act like they want to do something about it. But like then you have people like that come to your shows, and it's like you're not you're not the person that is qualified to handle that, but you might be the guy that's qualified to handle that in that moment.
Yeah.
And
I'm not qualified, but here I am, the guy.
exactly.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
that's
it's
what
like, and I don't have
yeah.
a choice right now.
And I mean that might be the only person that person has ever told that.
Right, exactly. And I think that also says something about, in a good way and a bad way, where we're arriving to in the culture of masculinity in the South, and where just in general, like that we're finally starting to talk, about some of these things that like that a veteran could feel safe enough because I said something, that he could tell me something like that, or that he could let out an emotion that he's been holding back for a couple of years, maybe. You know what I mean? Because the longer you let that stuff fester, just the worse that it
Yes.
does
Yeah.
does to your
Yeah.
spirit. It just like rots your soul.
Yeah. And that's like I mean I've said it on here before. Never thought I'd say anything about it publicly and stuff about dealing with all the panic attacks and the depression and stuff that I went through years and years ago. And like what got me about it was it wasn't the fact that I was going through it. It was the fact that it was making me depend on being with someone the whole time. Medication. It's something like that. I didn't want that. I didn't want to be somewhere and be like, I can't be here alone. Because if I freak out and start having an attack, I can't manage it. And the worst thing was to do it in front of people. Oh God, you felt like they were gonna freaking stone you to death.
Humiliating.
And but like I I didn't come up with anything. I started doing a lot of research and started reading a lot of stuff online about studies that had been done and things that you could do to manage with it without medication. And finally one day I was taking a whole pill a day, and then I started 2 days later, I cut that in half, and then 2 days later I went to a fourth, and then 2 days later I went to nothing. And going from that down to that, it was a struggle. I mean, it was, but the ways I found to cope with it now are pressure points. on my body. Like I'll grab pressure points and add pressure and be like, this is real. That's not. Like, we got to bring this back down. And like, cause, you know, and like,
Connecting back to your body.
yes.
Really. Yeah.
And I found a lot of good in that. And, you know, you still get that after. I've not had that one of those instances in years, but it's like, if you do, you still get the after effects of it. There's nothing worse than coming down from that. You
It
feel,
feels like you're gone for the
yeah,
day.
you're done.
Like my days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
And it's like, but the next day when you wake up, yes. And it's like, you can tell yourself, well, we didn't need medicine this time either.
Yeah.
We still coped with it on our own. We still got it under control. Let's forget about it and let's move on. That's what I do every time. That's the first thing I said to myself when I got up that next morning. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And man, I mean, just since then, it's like, I feel like, in my case might be different, and I feel like it is. A lot of people do depend on the medicine, but I feel like a lot of people get so attached to the medicine that they can't beat the main thing. And if you can't beat the main thing in your head, you'll never get over it. You'll always fall back on the medicine because the medicine helped to manage it. But if you can figure out a way on your own, like I did, that was my whole thing about it. I didn't want to depend on something. I didn't want to depend on medicine for the rest of my life. I didn't want to do that. When I found the ways to cope with it on my own, you know, I feel better about it because I know I can beat it without any help.
Self-confidence that I did it before.
And I feel like the self-confidence coming in is like a huge factor in that too. Because in those points of your life, your self-confidence couldn't be lower. It's gone. It's not there.
You need a previous victory.
Yes. And that's where that come in. And I didn't want the medicine to be that victory. I didn't want that. You know, my mom and them was worried. Like, I mean, they were freaking out. Like, they didn't know what was going on. I didn't either. You know,
Yeah.
my mom and them had dealt with some of that in the past because my mom used to have really bad seizures. And then when she thought she was going to have a seizure, she would have a panic attack. And sometimes it was just a panic attack coming in, you know. But she learned how to deal with it. And she kind of got over with the medicine and didn't really have to use the medicine anymore. She still has to do the seizure medicine to keep that at bay, you know.
Yeah. Which sometimes they use the same. Like I think don't quote me on this, but I think they use clonazepam or Klonopin to treat some epileptic seizures, which is also
I can't remember what it
anti-anxiety
is.
medication.
I can't remember what it is she takes, but I do know of some people that have took Klonopin for the anxiety parts
Yeah,
of it.
I was on it for a
You
long
know,
time.
but I just, that was one thing that just I did not want to do, and it got bad there again, like stress and stuff. Got real bad, and I thought about, like, it wasn't the fact of the anxiety, the panic attacks and stuff. It was, I remember how I felt when I took that medicine. I didn't care. Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered. And that's a dangerous thing in my mind. If you have no drive, and if everything in your life, it's like, whatever, go on with it. Let's move on. I feel like that's a terrible spot to be in your mind.
Well, I appreciate you sharing all that, man. I really do, because I would have never have known that. And I don't know if you ever knew this, but like we were just talking about me going over to your house a lot when we were in school. Like, I was over there because I couldn't be alone. Like I went to Meredith Avenue to see you and the boys and smoked cigarettes on that front porch because I was afraid that if I was alone, like I was having panic, like from the time that I woke up, to the time I went to sleep, I was in a state of fight or flight, and I was afraid that if I was alone, I was going to kill myself. That's how bad I was, and it was a daily thing. So like I was at your house
You were there. I never knew that, but
every
you were there
day,
every day.
every day,
Yeah, every day.
because I knew that if I was around somebody, I wouldn't do it. I knew that if I and there was times where I would, have people stay the night at my house. I'd have to stay the night at somebody else's house because I lived by myself. And every single night for 2 years, it was a fight. And that fight, went on a little longer than that. But I think also the time I didn't know what it was. I had no fucking clue. I thought I was going crazy. I'd look at myself in the mirror, didn't recognize myself. I was going into the ER. They'd give me a shot, take my heart rate down, pull me back out. And I had really severe OCD growing up. Like I would like count to 1,000,000 in my head, and Like if I didn't make it all the way, then I'd come home and like I would believe my mom would be dead or something. It was like that kind of stuff. Like, and so it was like this superstitious thing that like went to an obsession that like went too far. It wasn't like the clean your room kind of thing. It was like, it was like I need to. I'm trying to say like I would need to like look at somebody and blink a certain number of times or something. And if I did that, then I'd get home and like nobody would be dead or my dad wouldn't be high or like, that kind of stuff. And so like when it first came back, I was like, oh, I'm regressing. Like when it hit me back, we were in school, like, but it was something totally different. It was way worse that time. And so that was why I was always at y'all's house. And yeah, I didn't get on medicine for a couple of years because I thought that I could beat it intellectually. I was like, if I can just not tell anybody about this, beat it and outsmart it, then I'll win. No one will ever know that that I went crazy, that I lost my mind. I didn't want that to be my reputation. Like 2 years ago, I was just on the football team, winning championships. Like I had this like maybe not a tough guy reputation, but I didn't think anybody thought I was crazy, and I couldn't imagine what that would do to what people thought about me.
You don't
So
want anybody to know.
That was another thing with mine. Yeah, that was another thing with me was like I had talked to my mom and them. They knew what was going on, so I had somebody to talk to about it. Like, because I was at that same point. Like I was like, and it still got to me there a while after. I mean, it took me years. I know what you're saying about how things were like. I was to a point that I would not sit in a certain chair in my parents' living room because, like, if I sit over, I'm gonna freak out. I was like, I'm about to burn this house down if I sit in that chair, and I know it's gonna happen. But it was serious. It was that way, and like I tried to make a joke about it, not because I'm not a serious person. You know that I'm not. I've never have been.
Humor's one of the best ways to deal with it.
Yes,
Like now,
yes,
like
and that's what
when
we
you're
were
in the
talking
when you're
about.
in the thick of it, like you can't imagine making a joke about it.
Exactly.
But like once you get over it, you're like, God, dude, like how the hell did I just fucking make it through that? One of the only ways to lighten it up is because like you can never really put it into words to like how bad it actually can get.
Yeah.
But like if you can be like, yo, I'm fucked up, I guess a little bit. Like it kind of helps. It kind of helps a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about here. I can't remember when it was. It was recently. We were talking about that. If you've never been through anything, then you probably don't find dark humor very funny.
Oh yeah, that's last episode.
Was it?
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
remember. But like we were saying that, I have a dark sense of humor.
Yeah, same.
Dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
That's why I don't do too much funny stuff online. So I'm like, I'll probably lose half my.
it's like I just don't understand. But it's like people don't understand. It's not that I don't understand. People don't understand where you're coming from when you have a dark sense of humor. Because I feel like when you have a dark sense of humor, you are trying, and you're trying to find the funniest moments in the worst times possible. Because that's the only way that you can really think to get yourself out of that without being in a funk.
Yeah.
It's relief. It is. It's like, yeah. There's nothing you can do to change your situation. If you're like, hey, I've tried everything, there's nothing to change it. What else can I do except make myself laugh? Or like for me, like even sometimes writing songs, I can be so deep in it that if I'm writing a song about it, I'm in it. Like the only thing, like, so I'm like addicted now to stand up comedy. Me and my girlfriend have like we've probably been to probably 15 stand up comedy shows this year.
You ever Bargatze? Yeah.
I love Nate Bargatze.
We've been
Nate
seeing him at
Bargatze.
the
I just
Sky
watched
Pack. Me and Kate
You
did.
did?
Yeah.
Watch him live.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He was
That's cool.
funny. He was really
Dude, he's
funny.
great.
We went to the
Well,
show.
I've not seen him live. I've watched all of his specials. I plan on it, but like there's this place called Zanies in Nashville, and we go to Zanies. We frequent there probably once or twice a month. Yeah, it's a comedy club in Nashville on 8th Avenue. Um, Also, like the first time I went was at the Cellar in New York City when we were up there playing a show at I think it was the Mercury Lounge. And me and the band went, and like I don't think there was anybody there that anybody recognized that night. But you go drink whatever. You're just eating some chips and salsa, and you're just like, dude, this is amazing. Like I was just laughing the whole time. Of course, they made fun of us. They were like, "You guys look like you're a band no one's ever heard of," and we're like, "Yeah, you pretty much nailed it, dude. Like that's exactly right, my friend." Like, I don't know. I just yeah. But I loved it, man. So I've been going. Yeah, I've been going for a couple years now doing that. And then like if I'm home at the house, like all I do is listening to comedy podcasts, or I watch, comedy, stand-up comedy specials. It's YouTube. Like, it's a great way to break free of, like, 'cause when you do music for a living, you got to find something else to be your hobby now. Like, music was my hobby, and it was how I broke free from the world. Well, now that it's all I do every day, I got to find a way to get away from that. And no one really ever told me that. And so now it's like, okay, I need to go to a stand-up show, or I need to do something, go fishing, or go to the gym. Got to do something other than music,
How many more people, or how many people in the world need more laughter in their life? You know,
Yeah.
like
I think that's why it's kind of like I think stand-up comedy is really big right now.
Yeah.
Like,
it seems that is.
I
I
mean,
think
it's
stand. I think stand up comedy is big right now because the people that do stand up comedy never fell for the woke mentality.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, like there's people like that.
It was the last stance against it, I
Yes,
think.
and
Like, it
dude,
was like,
I cannot stand people getting mad about like you saying. I mean, there's some things you don't need to say, but and I ain't gonna say 'em. Uh, but like there's just certain things that you could say that's like is not really anything towards anybody, and it's not you're not saying something because you feel that way. You're saying it because what you're gonna say is funny with that in it. And like that's stand up comedy. Like listen to it. Some of that it's horrible, but God, it's funny. And it's like you don't feel like those people feel that way. You know they're just doing it because of the joke. Now some people probably do feel that way, but
I think that's where, like, people need to realize that it is an act. It's entertainment. Like, their intention is not to, like, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm hoping the people that I support and the people that I think are funny are like, they're not there trying to piss somebody off and make them leave. They're there trying to make you laugh. And I think to do that, like, there's an art to every joke. And I think every joke kind of has to, like, teeter a line of, like, it has to challenge some things, whether it's your beliefs or whatever it is. It has to be like challenge some cultural things. And, like, that's what makes it funny. That's what makes it what it is. And so sometimes, I even worry about some things that I say, like, if I'm trying to be funny and then, like, but I'm misunderstood. It doesn't come across as funny, or you make somebody mad. I don't think anybody wants to make anybody mad on purpose. Like, especially, like, if you're trying to be entertaining, if you're trying to make somebody laugh. Now if you're like, "No, actually, this," and you're, like, being serious about
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's. I think, like you said, and like going back to Nate Bargatze, I think I like him. Like he's
he's real
clean,
clean,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
You watch
it's
him with your
like,
kids if you want to. I ain't got no kids, but you
yeah,
guys got kids.
exactly, yeah. It's like, and it's. I feel like it is harder to be a comedian and be funny
Oh, dude,
being
yeah,
clean in
for
front of
sure.
a million
Yeah.
people.
And he has mastered it.
And he is
seems
so
Yeah.
good. It's not like
Yeah.
some of his jokes really aren't even funny. It's
Yeah.
and
The
it's
delivery.
the delivery of it. And I mean I know that's a part of the thing, but it's amazing at how somebody can figure out how to master that. And you really he's the only one I can really think of that is clean.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
purely.
At least the
And like you
biggest.
wouldn't care to take your kids to see him.
No,
Right.
dude.
You know what I
No,
mean?
dude.
But I ain't taking my kids to see freaking Andrew Schultz. You know what I
I saw
mean?
I saw him watch the Opry this
Did
year.
you?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't take your kids. He talked a lot about coming and jizz and
Yeah.
yeah, but it wasn't like he was trying to get his wife like it's a great show. Like him and his wife did the whole IVF thing because they tried and tried and tried, just couldn't do it. But basically the whole thing was about that and just like all the like idiosyncrasies and like weird stuff you got to do. And it's like, yeah, it's probably not kid friendly, but God dang, it was funny, dude. It was he is so good, man. Yeah, I love his comedy, but yeah, one thing I wanted to say like about the whole medicine thing. I don't mean to go back into
No,
this,
go ahead.
but like
We can go here,
I
there, and everywhere.
when I finally figured out like what might be going, what was happening to me and everything. I was living in Louisville with a buddy of mine, and things got really bad. And pulled me back over a bridge one night. And at that point, like I realized, like, hey, I'm in a really bad place. And had every intention of just cutting it off that night. Um, and you know, I went and got the help that I needed. I got on medication. I didn't even know that that was an option at the time. Like, so I think like when that was in 2015. And at that time, I didn't even know like what depression was. I didn't even know what anxiety was. I didn't. There's more stuff now like obsessive compulsive disorder. I didn't know like the span of what that was. Like I only thought there was normal and crazy. That's it. And so like if I'm crazy, no one can know. Like and so now knowing that all these things like hey, you can be a smart guy and go through this. You can be a good man and go through this. You could be somebody that just fell on hard times. It can happen to anybody. And somebody that you admire could be the coolest person in the world could be going through this. And you might not know just because it's something we don't talk about. But I want to say, like with the medicine thing, is that, I got on it and I had similar experience where it just numbed me out. It made me a completely different person for a few years. Hated who I was. That being said, I think it can help a lot of people. And I think it helped me get far enough away from the panic attacks at the time to be able to understand what was happening. Because when you're experiencing it nonstop, you can't get away from it enough to be able to understand what's happening. And so I think for me, the medication, and I think what it can do for some people is act as like a ramp to at least get out of the worst spot. And then you can maybe, if you don't want to be on it forever, you can find ways to get off of it.
I agree
Some
with
people
that.
are on it till
Yeah.
people are on it till the day that they die, and that's their
Yeah.
decision. I didn't. I was the same way. I didn't want to rely on
Yeah.
anything. And so to this day, I take omeprazole for my acid reflux, and that's about it.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's like I said, I don't want you to think I was saying that it's bad,
yeah,
because that
no,
wasn't
no.
the
I
way.
knew exactly where you're
Yeah,
coming
because
from.
it's
I
like
knew exactly where you're coming from.
some people, that's how they'll cope with it, and that's what I was saying. I was like, that's completely fine, but I was like, in my instance, it was just like that was just something I did not want. I have blood pressure medication that I have to take, and I fight taking that. Like I try and change, like I'll drink paprika water to try and take away from that because I'd read some studies that if you took paprika every day, it would help to lower your blood pressure.
I don't even know what that is.
Dude, I had
Paprika? The seasoning?
Is that like a herb or something?
Yeah, it's a seasoning.
right. It's what they put on deviled eggs, right?
Yeah.
Is that
The
what
red
that is?
stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah. I thought that was called red pepper.
Dude, but I checked my blood pressure the other night and it was like super high, and I was like, dude, like what? Scared the shit out of me. And I called Chase Shot. I was like, hey, dude, these are my numbers. What? He's like, actually, no, you probably do need to worry about that. I was like, oh shit. So he checked me. We had a friendsmas party or whatever at Ted's house. He checked my blood pressure. It was totally normal. I was like, okay, so it must have just been a bad night or whatever. But apparently, we got to worry about that kind of shit now. Oh man.
What was it? It was back a year ago, and I was actually harvesting grain, and I was in the combine. I was in the middle of nowhere. I was 30 minutes from the doctor, anywhere. And I just recently went to the doctor, had a sinus infection, pretty bad sinus infection, and I don't like taking the pills. I don't like taking and spreading it out over a week. If I go over there and they have something like that, I'm like, give me a steroid shot. I'll go home. That night, I'll sweat and feel like I'm 200 degrees. Next morning, I'll wake up. I'll feel fantastic. And so I did that. And they were like, well, we want to combine it with antibiotic. And I was like, okay, that's fine. It was like, have you ever had it? I was like, no, I've never had it. I'm not allergic to anything that I know of. They were like, okay, that's fine. We'll give it to you. They gave me that, and they gave me some pills to take too. Well, I didn't take the pills because I was like, I'm going to see, because normally I don't need them. I was like, yeah, if I wake up in the morning, I feel bad, I'll take them. Well, I go over and I get the shot. Well, the next day, I felt great. I was like, okay, good. So I was like, I put the medicine up on the cabinet with my blood pressure medicine. Took my blood pressure medicine, left that day. Around 2 o'clock that afternoon. No, it wasn't even 2 o'clock. I'm sorry. About 11:30. Dude, I started feeling horrible. Like I started coming down. I didn't have the mucus feeling. I didn't feel like I was coughing up a bunch of junk. No runny nose. No none of that. My head was pounding. Unbelievable. I felt like I was 700 degrees. I felt like if I touched something, I would melt. Dude, my head hurt. I've never had a pain so bad that I couldn't even talk because my voice was making my head hurt so bad. And like I was crying, but it wasn't because I was crying. It's because all this pressure in my head. And like you could touch my head and my temples right here were so tight. You couldn't. And so I went to the doctor. I had Kate call. And I was like, I texted her. I was like, can you call the doctor? I cannot listen to somebody's voice. She calls the doctor. They're like, okay, we can get you in immediately. They get me in there like, what's going on? I was like, I feel like I'm having a reaction to that medicine. I was like, I feel horrible. They bring me in. They read my blood pressure. It was 198/95, and I was running 103.5 fever. And my body was trying to fight off that antibiotic, and I was still working.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had like an allergic
Yes,
reaction
I
to the
have an
antibiotic?
allergic reaction to the antibiotic.
Wow.
And I got over there, and they gave me a steroid shot. And dude, oh, that was the highest my blood pressure has ever been, and that was the worst. Like, well, I can tell when my blood pressure is getting high because my eyes will feel like they're about to pop out of my head.
So you get a headache.
Yes, no headache, no headache. My eyes, I get pressure behind my eyes. Yes,
Oh.
and my eyes will start
Do
watering.
you feel like your cheeks like blush or like get hot?
Oh, my whole face gets hot.
Really?
I could fry an egg.
Do you feel like you could like? Does your heart like not beat fast, but it beats hard? Maybe is that? Sometimes I feel like my heart doesn't beat fast, but it beats hard.
I can
Like,
tell when
damn, my heart.
I can tell when I'm really getting mad about something because my blood pressure will start raising because I can feel it. The pressure behind my eyes starts getting real tight, and I mean I can feel my eyes it feels like my eyes want to push out.
What does it go to? Like, what's high for you? Like, other than the 190 thing, like what do you run?
I mean
For your eyes to do that, is it like what 160?
yeah. Yeah, it's like 150, 155, 160 area, top number. I mean, I really only remember I can't never remember the bottom number. I always just mostly remember the top number besides that one time.
I feel retarded.
But yeah, it's like 160 and 150 something, like when it gets up to there. And it'll only stay there like when I get mad or like when something's like I don't take my medicine, I can feel it get there. And I'll come home and I'll take my medicine and give me about an hour, 30 minutes, something like that. And it'll come back down. But there's been times even my medicine won't take it. I'm on the lowest dose. And I tried to change my diet because I love salt. Love
Yeah,
salt.
dude. I've heard like my mom always growing up, she'd be like, "Don't you eat them ramen noodles?" Like, 'cause they had like a bunch. I always thought she was bullshitting me, but like, apparently sodium like really does affect your blood. It's crazy we haven't had this conversation. If there's any doctors listening right now, tell us actually how we need to go about
What
this.
we need to do to correct
Dude,
our
are you
lives.
telling me that I can just get mad at somebody cut me off in traffic and I'm just gonna fucking fall over dead, dude? Like what? Like
Talking about cutting off in traffic, we're gonna swing out for this one. I was coming home from Louisville one day. We actually had a appointment for one of the kids, and we were coming home. There was a guy in front of me on 65 going in the fast lane, running 73 miles an hour. I remember it like it was yesterday. This guy in this little Toyota Corolla just whips up beside me, and he's like sitting there. He rolls his window down, and he's sitting there just like waving at me to come on like this. I get in behind him. He's running 98, and I'm running 98. I am following him. I get up beside him, and I make no gestures. I know nothing. I roll the passenger window down, and I'm running. I get up beside him, and I'm just staring him down. I don't make any gestures. I'm just staring a hole through him. I followed him. Every lane he switched into, I switched right into it with him. I told Kate, I said, I swear to God, if my blood pressure was up, man, I was
he's
mad.
about to confess a felony on this podcast.
I pulled a gun.
What I did next, I pulled into his house with a gun.
Dude, I swear, I was going down the interstate, and I was getting off at the Cave City exit. And I said, I swear to God, if this guy gets off in Cave City, he's got it. I was like, he is not going home. I mean, he was going home, but later. But it was, oh, dude, I was so mad. And that's like, that's a blood pressure moment. Like, my blood pressure gets up, and I get mad, and, dude, it's just
He
like,
kills people.
I ain't going to kill nobody. No. But, like, oh, gosh, dude. That's one.
That's probably why your blood pressure is spiking. Just like an inability to, I don't know. I don't know. Like
I have no
find
patience.
ways to, yeah. Like,
Zero patience. None
You feel that.
whatsoever.
I don't know. I feel that though too. Like I got to find better ways. I think it's everything. I think the same thing that like causes you to like be anxious about something or like have a panic attack. Like that same emotion could go the other way into like anger if you don't like know how to like come down. It's like dude, a couple weeks ago, dude, I took my dog to the vet because it had some sugar-free gum, And I ran into an incident with a doctor that I had never ran into before. And dude, I felt the same way where I was like, I don't know. I think I might die before I walk out because like I didn't know what to do with the rage, dude. Like I was so mad, and I hadn't felt that kind of rage, I don't think, like in a long time. And I was just like, man, like, is this what happens to people? Like, can you die from being so mad? And like, she's just like, I've never been this mad before, man.
Well, hang on,
Am I
let's
just gonna get struck by lightning right now?
before we go off of that. Why did this is a genuine question? I don't know. Why
Yeah.
did you take your dog to the vet because it had sugar-free gum?
Xylitol. Like they can't like in sugar-free anything. There's
ingredient.
it's an ingredient that's like in the sugar-free stuff. Xylitol, and it's dogs are like allergic. It's toxic.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
and so you gotta make them throw up.
Yeah.
But like I didn't have anything to make them throw up. Like you use like hydrogen peroxide or something. So I took them there, and they were like, "Well, you got to get him here within an hour." I called my regular vet first. We'll do it for $60. And I was like, "Well, I can't get there in an hour. It's rush hour traffic." They were like, "Okay, well, here's an emergency one right by your house." Got them there. By the time I explained everything to them and everything, like it's a long deal. But anyway, I was upset. They ended up trying to charge me like $2,500 to fix my dog. Yeah, and it was because of the process that they were like dragging it out. So the longer it was in his system, the worse he was getting, and they weren't doing anything about it. So they were risking his life, and also in the meantime charging me more money.
Yeah. Well, that's a reason
And
to
that
get
was why I
mad.
was like, hey, like
Yeah.
we're at an
That's
impasse here.
definitely a
So
reason
that
to
was
get
the
mad.
thing. Like I thought you
Yeah.
couldn't give dogs chocolate and everything
You,
else is
yeah,
free game.
you can't. Chocolate is theobromine. That's the thing that they're allergic. Dude, I just got a dog. Like this year is
Dog
rescue. He
Oh,
did, yeah. So he's
And
so I
you know
literally got
all
him off
this
the side
just
of the
from
road.
getting a dog? Is this your
Dude,
first dog?
it's the first responsibility I've ever had in my adult life, dude.
Really?
Like I got him
I've
off
had
the
a
side of the
dog
road.
for
dang.
8 years, and
Really?
I never knew any of this. So I've had multiple
Yeah.
dogs.
Well, maybe this will just
And
tell you
killed
how
them all.
like yeah, they're all bad. Chocolate and shit. There you go.
I was feeding them extra to clean his teeth.
Smell bad. What do you want me to do about it? No, dude. I think I'm just that way about myself too, dude. Because I'm always like, dude, I'll get anxious about anything, dude. I'm like, did I just drink too much water? Like, it's not possible. I'm peeing a lot. There must be something wrong with me, dude. Yeah, but yeah, I've learned a lot about what dogs can and can't have this year. I found him on the side of the road back in April. He's 3.5 months old, German Shepherd, and beautiful dog. He was eating out of the trash, just absolutely like malnourished, skinny, sick. Got in the back of my car with some leftover macaroni and cheese from this Italian restaurant I've just been to, and spent like 2 or 3 months just getting him healthy, all the time at the vet, and now he's just the best dog in the world, man. He really is just he's well, it's hard to know who saved who at this point, 'cause, man, he's such a good dog, dude. And he's big too, like big. Like we think he's a German Shepherd mixed with maybe like Grand Pyrenees or something. So he's huge, and like he'll just lay on top of me. He's like 80 pounds. It feels like there's just big weighted blanket, and I just like, dude, it's so nice.
Our dog.
Yeah, but he's the nicest dog in the world. We sent him to a camp to be trained, and they were like, he could never be a police dog because he's not aggressive enough. So he's so friendly. So it's kind of the best of both worlds where he's like so nice, but like if someone came through that door that he didn't know, like yeah, he'd bark and he'd like try to figure out what's going on. Because somebody tried to break into my apartment he was probably like 6 months old. He lost his mind. I'd never seen him do that before. I was like, oh yeah, I was there and I was like, what's going on now? Like I saw a guy like, peek through his head.
Hey, yo, I live
through the
here.
window. Yeah. Like, and then he just like took off and tried to get his ass. Yeah. But yeah, I was like in between because me and my girlfriend were about to move in together. I had lived at this place. I had lived in Midtown for like 3 or 4 years, right across from all the bars, and I was like, okay, this isn't cool anymore. It was really cool when I was single. Now who am I trying to impress? Like, I need to, And then yeah. So he's been great, man. He's my sweetie boy. I call him. Yeah.
I had a question. You're signed with what's the record label you're signed with? Okay. Well, that's what I
Yeah.
was
Big
thinking.
Machine Records. Yeah.
Like whenever you sign with not to change the subject or something, it's just something
Yeah,
I was
dude.
thinking about.
Yeah.
Like what does like whenever you sign with the record label, like what does that mean? Like do you have to produce like a certain number of songs? Yeah. Or like say they pay you X amount of money for 20 songs or something like that.
Right. Kinda, yeah. I mean, every contract's different, and I think that just depends on like what kind of leverage you have going into your deal. Um, and everything changes the music industry like so often. With TikTok and like with kind of what I was coming in with, I was coming in with a really hot song. Like Project had went #1 on Billboard digital sales, and I just released a song called Your Daughter, and Drop Your Tailgate had just came out too, and they were all doing really well. I think Your Daughter went to like #2 on digital sales. So it was like I was coming in with like some really good leverage. So like the negotiations, like you have a lawyer that does all that stuff, and if it's a good lawyer, he'll basically almost lose you the deal because he's like negotiating so hard that like they almost like don't even want to fool with you anymore. But yeah, it's different for everybody. Mine's like a certain number of songs, so I gotta like record a certain number of
I always
songs.
wondered how that worked.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, does a certain song have to reach a certain point, or is it a certain number of songs? Like, 'cause
Yeah, I mean,
I've never known anybody who's had a record deal.
yeah. Well, I mean, if it just doesn't reach a certain point, they just let you go, I guess. Like you record a certain number of songs, and then if it just doesn't, nothing happens. They're just like, all right, well, we tried. So it's like it's kind of crazy that like I was doing like in terms of like numbers and like my audience and like just streams and sales, like it was crazy. Like I was like just on top of the world in 2022 in May, like all throughout that year, touring, like yeah, just everything, like social media. And then you sign a record deal, and then it's like all the brakes are pushed at the time. And so like because like it's like they want you because you're doing really well, but then you kind of have to change a few things. You got to get used to the new system now because it was just me, so I could do everything as fast as I wanted it. Well, now you're put in a position where you're still the CEO of your company, which is my music brand, but like now I have an office that like I have to talk to people. Sometimes there's 30 people that have to confirm a song, or whatever. And so like that just kind of like it's an interesting process with the new music industry because with TikTok and streaming, everything can go so fast. Like you could put out a song a month, a song every 2 weeks if you wanted to, and that's just not how Nashville was never set up to be that way because they work with probably 50 plus artists at a time, and then there's only so many songs that they can work at a time. And so, like, definitely, like the industry and independent artists are at kind of an impasse right now of trying to figure out what's the best way to release music. So I didn't release a song for over a year, like a year and a half after I signed my deal, and that wasn't anybody's fault. That's just because we are trying to figure out how to work, like with a team. It's not just me anymore. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And honestly, dude, I love all those people, man. Like I walked into it's the coolest freak story, dude. Like I was bartending, and my bar manager played my song Relapse over the bar speakers, like trying to make fun of me. And these guys that I was serving, uh, kind of, he was just like teasing me, he's like, watch this, trying to embarrass me. And these guys that I've been serving Stella and Miller Lights to for 2 years were like, hey, I really like the song. Is it yours? And I was like, yeah. They're like, you mind if we send this to a buddy of ours? Ended up being my agent, who was, Aldine, FGL, Morgan Wallen's agent. And like several other people, and at the time like, and he was like, hey, I want to work with you. And at that, like that was right before like project took off, right before all that stuff started happening. So he introduced me to Scott Borchetta. Scott Borchetta, like I when project came out, I met with every label in town. Like it was crazy. Like my phone was like blowing up. Right, because
You were hot
I was
right
making
then. Yeah.
money. I was making money off song, and like I owned 100% of the master, and so it was like, hey, let's see if we can participate in this momentum gaining thing he has going. It's all a business, and to them, not to everybody. Some people see more, and I felt like Scott Borchetta saw that. He's like, I really love your story. I like the perspective through which you write your music. Um, and I just he seemed to like respect me as like and care about me as a person. Whereas like some, not everyone, there were other great labels too and great people there, but there were some times where the industry was changing so quickly that people just wanted to know how I did it. They want to know like, how did you get your numbers so big? How did you do the TikTok thing? And it was almost like they were trying to figure it out so they could do it with the people they'd already signed. And so I was like, all right, well, I don't want to be here. I mean, it's-
Playing that song like in the bar that caught their attention.
yeah,
I think that's crazy.
yeah.
What a crazy.
Yeah, I had 6,000 streams on Relapse when that happened. And so he was the first guy inside the music industry that I had ever known. I had no industry connections at all. And but at the time, I like he is an agent. So what an agent does is they book you shows. So like he was, you know, he's been in the industry for 20, 30 years. So I was still running all of my socials by myself. I was still doing all my streaming by myself. Like, and then he was able to start booking me shows. But you know, he had friends that ran labels and stuff, and so like that was kind of how that all just worked out perfectly, man. And I mean, it's crazy because I got that job. I don't know if y'all know this, but I during pandemic I lost both my jobs and all the music that I was doing stopped because nobody would book you playing shows. I had $11 in my bank account in July or August. We were having a party at my house, and my check engine light on my GMC was on, and just like all these things were happening. And I went outside, called my mom. I'm like, hey, I can't afford anything anymore. I can't afford rent, can't afford groceries. Do you have a bed I can come back home to sleep in? I think I'm gonna move back home and give up. I think I've tried as hard as I can. This is it. And Chavis was at our party that night. He comes out wasted, not fully wasted, but you know, lit. And I think I forget at the time what he was doing, but he was doing some kind of job where he was able to still work and everything. And he found me. I'm on the phone crying my mama, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I'm trying to like, oh, you know, like I hung up, like trying to put it away. And but he kind of caught the gist of the situation, and he's like, "Man, I've had the best year I've had this year, and I've heard your songs, I really believe in them. Let me loan you some money to pay your rent this month." And it's like, "Just stay one more month, see if you can figure it out." And we fought on it for half an hour, and I took it. That next week, I had already put in like 50 job applications. Nobody was hiring. The next week, I got a job, and yeah, and I started. I was waiting tables there, worked my way up to bartender, working 17-hour shifts, doubles. That's where I met my girlfriend. That's where I met my agent, who got me my record deal. Um, I swear I saved up enough money to record my first song that went viral. Um, Paid Chavis back in probably January. Like, I mean, it's just like all these things happen just like because like of literally the chance of one more week. Um, a good friend. Yeah, a good
He's
friend.
The
Yeah,
odds stacked against you, man. You know,
yeah,
you had all this stuff going against you, and you know, wanted to quit, and you didn't, and now look at you, dude. You have like a crazy inspiring story too.
yeah, man. It's thanks.
That is
It's
wild.
cool. It's weird how it all like looking back now. It's like, dang, it was almost 5 years ago now. You know, it's crazy to think the pandemic was that long ago. But yeah, it was.
And you don't think like you don't think about all the struggles when you go back and think about it. You don't look at them as struggles. Like I don't at least like starting a business and stuff like that. I don't see it as a struggle. It sucked at the time. It was horrible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
uncertain.
but looking back on it, you're like, what would I have done if that didn't happen? Like, and like, I mean, Chavis, I mean, that's, you guys have been, best friends forever, since he moved here, really. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
And
But so funny that he was even there
yeah,
because at the time he was living in Kansas City.
yeah.
Like,
Is that when
so
he
he
was
had,
doing that trade home shoes?
yep, yeah, he
And
was.
now
I
he's a
think. I think. I
chiropractor.
think. Nice. I know.
What a
Yeah,
plethora
yeah,
of careers you have, Chavis.
yeah. I still won't let him pop my neck.
Might bob your neck and size you up for a size 11.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be
Pulling
so
your neck's
funny if
out of
he
line,
like
but you would look
if
good.
if he saved my music career, but then he like paralyzes me. Like, oh, well, I guess we're even now.
I wanted interest.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh man, yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
that's crazy. What a story though, man. Like I said, you had like all the odds against you, and you know, like almost every reason to quit, and then you don't, and now look at like what perseverance pays off, and
Yeah. It is weird to think that like I've been doing this as long as I can remember. That's where I finally started to like because I felt guilty for so long for being away from home. Been gone from home for 10 years. You know, like my brothers and sisters have grown up. I come back home, everybody's older. Like I feel horrible about that, man. I'm just like, man, I wish I had more time at home. Like I've been in Nashville for a good part of my life now, and like like you think about that and you realize like, oh, like all this has kind of come to a head. Like I'm in a good place in my life right now. Like, I've got a record deal. I'm able to make music for a living. Like I'm able to tour, meet amazing people that have changed my life. But like, and so often I feel guilty that my life is nice, and because I know what it's like for it to not be nice. I know what people are going through, could be going through, struggling financially, the homes they're growing up in, whether it's drug addiction, alcohol addiction, mental health issues, whatever it might be. But now it's like I'm in a decent spot to go back into the darkness, into the tunnel, and be like, hey, like there is a way to make it to the side. You got to persevere through it. And it's really tough, but I promise you, it's possible. There's proof now that you can make it. But yeah, it's hard. But then I'm remembering like when I feel guilty about like my life's okay right now. I remember how hard I work. It's like, oh, this is all I've wanted my whole life. I put everything into this, and when you persevere and when you work really, really hard for something, it makes it possible. You know, yeah. And help of a great friend. You know what I mean? Like, there's times in your life where, like, whether somebody pulling you over a bridge, whether somebody giving you a little bit of money to pay your rent, if you have to be open to accepting the help that's offered to you, and then look back and think, it might have been divine in some way. I don't know why that happened at exactly the right time, at exactly when I needed it, when all the odds were stacked against me. There, it makes no sense that he was there that night. It makes no sense that a guy called me one night when out of the blue that I never talked to that was like, "Hey, dude, like I just feel like I needed to call you right now. I feel like something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I feel like you need to go back to your mama and papa's house." Little did he know I had a bottle of pills and ready to take care of myself that night. And that was a time that saved my life. Little did I know that the night that I was in Louisville and somebody pulled me over the bridge, that he was there at that exact right time, saw me from a quarter of a mile away, ran up to me, and I never even heard him coming because I was so focused on what I wanted and needed to do that I never even had a reaction to him behind me. And so like there's all these moments that if you look back on in your life, you can and you get to the other side of it to where things are okay. You can look back and say, wow, that was an opportunity of maybe something bigger than me that took place that I can't fully explain. But when you're going through it, it's really hard to see that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's like in that moment, like when that guy pulled you back off the bridge, it's like when that happened, what was going through your mind when he pulled you back over? Like what? Like just was it just like so much stuff going on? Like you didn't even register it. Like it was just out of the way.
Swear to God, I thought it was an angel. Swear to God, I thought it was an angel. Um, because I remember like I was in Louisville, Kentucky, standing over this like this bridge overpass where the bottom of it, like the river was close, but the bottom of this was concrete, and so this was probably I don't know feet, I don't know depth. It was dark, but it was far enough to do the job. And so I'm sitting there just getting closer and closer because I'm seeing how close I can get and to really see if I'm ready for this, if I'm prepared, because I've been dealing with this already for multiple years. It's not getting better, and I'm tired, and I feel like I fought my last day. I'm talking to God or whoever at the time because I feel like nobody hears me at this point, and I don't know what's going to happen when I get down there, but whatever it is has to be better than this life, even if that's complete silence. I looked around, nothing looks real. It all feels like it's a dream, and I'm so miserable on the inside that I don't even know what it's like anymore to feel normal. So that must be better than what's up here. And it's so I never wanted to die. It was just an opportunity to escape uh, misery. It was what I thought was a solution. Wrong, but at the time I wasn't able to see what was possible. Look at me,
Yeah,
look at
look
now,
at
dude.
everything
It's
that's
crazy.
happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, like when that happened, dude, I just felt these long arms come up over me and just like ever so gently pull me back over. And like there was of course it was a concrete overpass, probably about 3 or 4 foot high. So he had to reach over that to get to me, and and he was behind it and just put his arms over me and just literally lifted me up over it, back over. And I'm on the ground. He just picks me up and hugs me and tells me how important I was. He's like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on, but he's like, yeah, I just want you to know that you are so important. I love you, like all these things." And I'm just like bawling, dude. Like I'm just, 'cause it didn't register to me that that this was a human and he knew what I was about to do. You know what I mean? Like at this time, I'm just thinking like I was just gonna kill myself. How did I get? I didn't even. Yeah, but at the time, it felt like the warmest hug I had ever felt. I think. And then, I cried and cried, and then I think after that, I just gave what was left of my wallet to a homeless dude. I think it was like probably $11 or $12 or something. I was like, this'll, yeah. And then I decided to, give it one more shot. And I think when you're in those dark moments, if you can just find those little lamps where it's so dark you can't see the end of the tunnel, but maybe there's a flicker of a candle in the distance, and just keep your eyes open for that.
Did they ever say like why, like they were there, or like how they got there to?
Yeah, so it was a buddy of mine. So I had we went out that night, and he was like, he had been on a date or something, and at that time, kind of same reason I was at your house. Like, I just went everywhere with this guy, and he kind of knew that something was off with me. Like, I told him like a couple things or whatever, maybe, but I don't think anybody in my life knew how bad it was. And so we were in downtown Louisville, and I went on this date with this guy. Super weird thing to do, but I think he kind of knew that like I wasn't safe to be alone, maybe. And but we part ways. Like he goes on his date, he does his own thing. I think they go to the park or something. I climbed this fire escape, like looking over the city of Louisville, like just trying to get like a couple last views of like what's going on, and trying to like find something to appreciate, And so we're gone for like, I don't see him for like an hour, 2 hours. I don't know how long it was, but I find this overpass, and I'm like looking out, and I'm just trying to come to terms with everything. And I don't know if he was with his date, if they had walked around the city or whatever, looped back around. But his version of the story is that he saw just a person. I don't know that he knew it was me, from about a quarter mile, maybe half a mile away, and just something in his brain clicked, and he just started sprinting. And it wasn't until he got close to me that he knew who it was and what was
They
going
didn't
on.
even know it was you.
I don't think so. I'd have to have that conversation with him to look back, but I didn't even have that conversation with him until probably maybe like 2019, 2020, because it's such a hard thing to like go back and think, oh, that actually happens. You know what I mean? Or so yeah, like but now, like, obviously, I'm able to talk about it, to sit there and be with that kid and have compassion for the younger version of me or whatever, and be so freaking thankful he was there, and also just like validate that, hey, it was real, and I actually like it wasn't staged. Like, you know what I mean? It was like none of that was like, oh, I'm gonna just wait for him to come back around, and like there's somebody else like, no, that dude, that was the most maybe divine thing that's ever happened to me in my life. There's no reason that we should have separated paths like that, and he would have had his experience, I had my experience, and just at the right time, because like, I mean, seconds, milliseconds, that he would have sprinted like that and came to save the night.
No
Um,
coincidence, man.
yeah,
That,
yeah, really, really wild stuff, man. Really wild stuff. But all that to say, man, anybody that's listening, I know that you guys got a lot of male listeners, and people that have spent their lives in like just this masculine culture of like being like, hey, we can't talk about that kind of stuff or whatever, and it's like, it's okay. All right, talk about it, because it's probably at some point, I would imagine that everybody has some kind of moment like that, but they don't know if they can ever be honest or talk about it.
Yeah, everybody's went through that. I mean, maybe not, not to that extent, but everybody's gone through
Yeah.
something.
As a low moment,
They just
Yeah.
feel like they don't need
and
to
that
talk
it's
about
okay
it.
to talk about it, and to
Yeah.
tell somebody how you feel, and if you're
Yeah.
not feeling good, if you're feeling good, to tell somebody about it and how important that is, instead of just bottling up inside before
Yeah.
it overflows into something that's catastrophic. And it's very important.
Yeah.
And that's just a crazy story. Like, your story is just crazy. And
Yeah.
like, all the odds stacked against you, and now look at you. Like,
Yeah.
that is awesome, man.
But yeah, it's like you said, it's what's meant to be is gonna be. I mean, it's whether you like it or not. I mean, at that time, you didn't want to keep going, but glad you did. Yeah, and like when like when he pulled.
Tomorrow's gonna suck. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's like it's like when he pulled you over there. It's like like you said, you don't remember like you don't remember anything, and it's like all I can think of is the clip from The Dark Knight when he pulls him over. He's like, "I never told you thank you, and you'll never have to."
I don't know exactly that clip, but I think it's funnier when you say it.
That's all I can think of in that moment.
All I can
I didn't
think-
want to say it because I didn't want to ruin that moment, but
all I can
you
think
know.
of right now is, and they say that a hero.
Well, that song's so lately, and I don't remember why. But I feel like it's so culturally appropriate right now.
Good song too.
Oh shoot! Oh man!
Oh, I thought of one question I was going to ask earlier and I forgot until now. What's been like your favorite song? I'm sorry, I keep laughing at that. I'm still laughing at the hero thing. What's been like your favorite song to record? Like, do you have like a song that like you enjoyed the process of making, like as far as like lyrical or video or just the whole process? Is there one that sticks out more so than the others?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. There's a song that I'm about to release, I think, that hits on that because of like the just what the song's called and like what it's about. Song, it's coming out on February 14th, um, and it's called "Burned Down Heaven," and it's about breaking up with somebody, like, and just like what it feels like to break somebody's heart. And so, like in the process, I was like thinking about like what's like like when I broke somebody's heart, like that was like I felt like that was the worst thing that I've ever done. Like it was so horrible, like the shame that I felt from it, like how like it hurt somebody like that, and like yeah, it just felt so horrible. I was like, what's and I compared it to like the worst thing that somebody could ever do, the worst thing imaginable. I thought that would be like destroying heaven, like burning heaven down. And I think that's like kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
It was like something that like God couldn't even like forgive me for. Like that's how bad it felt. And
Robbing a
um,
blind man at a 7-Eleven.
yeah, I think people
You never
actually
saw
do
it
that.
coming.
Yeah.
He didn't.
I think people actually do that sometimes, man. They're like, oh,
Unforgivable.
yeah.
Unseen.
dude, apparently there was a blind guy that ran a gas station store in my papaw's community out in like in Speck Ridge growing up. And he said somebody had to stand in there and like help him fill the bill so he'd know like what it was. And there are people that try to get over on him. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, here's a 20. Like 20s don't even exist in Speck Ridge in 1953, brother. but but yeah, I think also too like are there any 7-Elevens around here anymore? Yeah, there was. Yeah,
Is there any in Kentucky?
there was one in Camelsville, wasn't there?
No, there's
On the
never
way,
been a
on
7-Eleven in Kansas.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't like open like all the time, like it's
Are you talking about up behind the fire station off of Main Street? You hang a right and go back up in there like you're going towards like Mansville area?
No, I'm talking about the one that's right before you get to the radio station on the left.
Oh no,
So you're
no,
going into
that was
Camelsville. That's not
a
7-Eleven?
that was actually owned by a lady, and they sold it to some Indian that
Okay.
owned like a couple other gas stations
Okay.
around. Yeah, I don't think that was ever. I honestly don't think there's ever been a 7-Eleven that I can remember, and there might have been, but I don't think.
There was a 612.
What's some other country growing up things we can talk
What's
about?
some,
There's so many things that we could
Here's
get
the
into.
thing I've
Stuff
got.
that we did growing up. We have history. Like we could literally go through memories.
The
We
thing
could go
I've got
through.
before we go to a country thing. This is like growing up. You were talking about Florida Georgia Line and cruise. What reaction do you think we would have got if we would have went up to a girl, never met her, just walked up to her at a party? Baby, you a song. You make me want to roll my windows down and cruise. What do you think?
They'd have probably had to buy a new pair of britches, dude. I mean,
You
that's
think so?
pretty good. It's pretty good. Dude.
Probably had about, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've thought about that since that song. I like the song. I do. But I've thought about that. I'm like, a George Strait song, check yes or no, that happened.
Timber Girl.
What? Oh, you shut up.
What Tim McGraw? What?
That song, that happened. Everybody did that.
Yeah. I was sending a note in
Yes,
like third grade.
everybody
Yeah,
did that. Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Name me one. You done it?
100% I did it. Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
letter. I'm
I
talking
think it was
about
Miss.
rolled your windows down and told her she was a song, make you want to
No.
cruise
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
What
Yeah.
song would she be?
Who?
Whoever.
The girl at the
The
party.
girl at the party? What song would I introduce her to?
Yeah.
Or what I want her to go to?
Yeah.
Oh God, probably Get Stoned by
Baby.
Hinder. You ever listen? That one's a wild one. And if you use that at a party,
What's that? What's that Fall Out Boy song?
it's
No. It definitely has the word bitch in the song. I can't remember what it is though. God.
Indian Outlaw.
I don't know.
She's like, really?
Think so?
I always thought I was dark complected.
Yeah, well,
There's a lot of
thanks for
heritage
the
around here.
memory.
I just found out I might be a little bit Cherokee.
My great great
Wish
grandpa,
I could put that on a college
my
application.
great great grandpa was a full blooded Cherokee Indian.
Really?
Yeah, never
Yeah.
met him.
Yeah, I definitely never
Sitting
met
bull.
it. My
Yeah.
family either.
He my I
call him
think
Stan
that's
Buchanan.
correct. I think that's correct. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say for sure, but all of my family on the right, on my dad's side, they are all very, very dark complected.
I feel like almost everybody around here has Native American heritage. Like almost everybody you talk to like has some in their family bloodline. I think that might be the Eastern Kentucky thing too, because my family's from East Kentucky. Like we're like my grandparents were like they were from Eastern Kentucky. Like it's like one generation removed from East Kentucky. No,
You ever done a
I know we're
you ever
mountain
done
folks.
a 23andMe?
West.
I haven't, man. I thought about
It
it.
scares me. I don't want them to have my spit.
Oh yeah, I actually
Think
heard
about
that
that.
they sell that stuff. I've
Exactly.
heard they sell that DNA off somewhere.
Not gonna be me.
I heard that recently. Yeah, dang. I got the box. I just never did it. I don't know what they do with it though. You think they make a clone of you maybe somewhere? Some rich person.
There's gonna be another
Yeah.
me. I want him. Like
Yeah,
I
he is
don't want
great.
I
him
don't
to be
think
out.
anybody wants it.
Yeah, just have him work out a lot.
I could go back through time and yeah, there's a lot of people.
Dude, Eastern Kentucky is the wild, wild west. You ever been over there?
But at the east,
Yeah, absolutely. I lived over there with my dad for a summer.
it's of the east.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a crazy place.
I don't know. What's one of the you were talking about stories around here. What's one of the memories that you have, like just random memory of something that happened when high school years, growing up, finally getting out, and something that you thought was
There's so many things we did. I mean, I can tell you one thing. When I was 9 years old, I begged my mom to let me stay at Cody Houchins' house.
a bad idea.
Like, it indeed turned out to be a bad idea. But they were wanting to go fishing. It was me, him, and Chavis. And I've told this story. They know he denies it, but
Cody?
that's bullshit. Yeah, 100%, dude. They try to gaslight me. Like, oh, anyway, I'm like, bro, I was there, dude. But as a matter of fact, but like they were wanting to go fishing. I was like, dude, there's nothing. I don't think I want any more the rest of my life than to go fishing and stay the night at Cody's grandma's house.
Yeah.
And but they were going by the river, and I asked my mom. My mom was like, threw a pitch and fit. No, you're gonna get in that river. You're gonna get in there and swim. And I was like, Mom, I won't do it. I swear to God. Like, Mom, please let me go. I ain't gonna get in the river. Well, we got in the river, and she finally let me go. We went down the river. We started fishing. One guy gets in the river. I'm like, I can't. My mama told me I can't. And just like little by little, I end up getting in the river. They're jumping off these logs. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty fun. Like, they're having a great time right now. And so I get in there, I do it, and I'm like, wow, this is the most fun I've ever had. My mom is
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so we go down the river probably a mile. They were on 88 on the 88 bridge. We right under the 88 bridge where we put in, or where we walked, literally got in, and then just like floated, like swam whatever down the river. And at some point, like they were like, "Hey, we're gonna go back home, and we're gonna go through this part of the woods." And I was like, "Well, I'm not going that way because that looks like there's a lot of snakes over there." And we just talked about how we don't like snakes.
Yeah.
It looked like swampy or whatever. I mean, I'm not. I'm just like, hey, like I'm terrified of snakes. I'm not going. They were like, well, we're going this way. You're gonna have to come back by yourself. I was like, fine. I'll swim back up the river. I had no idea how a river worked. I guess
Oh
like
God.
my life, I didn't know that a river only went one
Yeah.
way. Like, so they're gone. Like they're nowhere to be found anymore. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna take off back up this river. I'm by myself. And so I start swimming, and at some point, probably like 10 yards, I'm like, this is tough. This is way harder than I thought it was gonna be. And I mean, I fought that river, swear to God, until it was dark outside. They probably went back at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is summertime. Like I pulled on every branch. I was under the whole way, dude. I fought for my fucking life for hours to where every muscle in my body was just like not working. I couldn't walk like hardly when I got out. Give Yeah, exactly. I get out, I'm like, oh, that was we're right there. No, it was far. And I get back into the house, and I'm like, surely they've got a search party for me. Like the police have been looking for me, firefighters are everywhere. Like surely, right? I get back to the house, they're just watching SpongeBob. Like, oh hey, where you been? I'm like, you motherfuckers! I just had a fight of my life. You abandoned me. They were like, yeah, where you been, dude? They were like eating gumbo or whatever it was, watching SpongeBob. Yeah, this show's great, dude. Like all in dry clothes. I'm soaking wet. And yeah, they didn't care. Then I remember, oh yeah, we're 9. Like never crossed their mind. That was great. But that was like that and the same people we went ding dong ditching with for like 14 or 15, chased by the cops. I totally juked an officer out of his sneakers. That was cool.
I didn't get caught.
Hid behind a warehouse.
Mistake.
Yeah.
Chasing me.
Yeah, he probably needed to buy a new pair of boots the next day. These are done for. So, I don't know. What else? What do y'all got?
What do
What
I
else
have? I have endless. Golly, man, I don't know. You said ding dong ditching. Me and Tanner Dirt, we were the only 2 kids lived on that road. Rest of them older people.
Yeah, that was out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, you were. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, had a trembling. Yeah, and he calls me one night. We were I couldn't drive yet. So I was 16. I had my permit. Couldn't drive it. Calls me. It's like 11:30. I stayed in the basement, and you could go out the basement and go around the house. Nobody ever knew. Excellent thing to have for a teenager. And so I leave. He calls me. He's like, "Hey, meet us outside. We're standing in your front yard." I'm like, "Okay." So they had snuck out of their house. I snuck out of mine. He's like, "All right, we're gonna go ding dong ditch." I said, "This is stupid." He said, "Why?" I said, "We're the only kids that live on this road." I said, "It's obvious that it's gonna be us, unless, old Randall over there's getting feisty and he's wanting to trick the other neighbor, for stealing his lawnmower. But, so, we go down through there. We go like on the opposite end, probably like a mile down the road. And we go up, it was the only one that had a light on. So, across the road was a ditch. He was like, lay in the ditch. He was like, I'm going to go up here. And there was somebody else with us. Can't remember who it was. He was like, I'm going to go up here. Y'all lay over here. He was like, and I'm going to beat on this window. I think he just had personal beef with this guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so we sit there, and dude, I swear, we laid there for like 20 minutes. And I was like, I looked at, whoever it was, and I said, where, do you see him? He was like, no. He's like, I can't see him anywhere. So we like stand up.
Watching you from the window, like, let's see how long they'll play in that ditch.
Oh, dude,
They're still in that ditch.
we stand up. And I'm like, forget this. I was like, I'm going home. I don't know where he is. I was like, I don't really care. I'm going home. I was like, it's midnight. I got out of bed for this. So we start walking back. And all of a sudden, like, here was the house, here was the fence, and then his driveway was off to the side. We got to the edge of his driveway, and he was like, "I told y'all not to move." And all of a sudden, you hear him. He just like jumps up, double fist, and just bangs on his freaking front door. Gone. He comes running, and we like get to the edge of a driveway. We're just standing there still. He comes running to the edge of the driveway. He's like, "All right, let's go home. Let's see." Nobody came. All of a sudden, you hear, like the old screen doors, like had screen on top, glass on the bottom, real flimsy like. You hear a door open, and you hear it smack a wall. You hear the other screen door, not open, get kicked open. You hear it like it's. Next thing you hear is boom, boom, boom. And dude, we were right here. There was a tree right here. You could hear those pellets hitting the leaves. And you could vaguely see us. I was 1.5 miles from home. I got home in 4 minutes. I cut through fields. I ran past cows.
Yeah.
I ran in. I jumped in my bed. Acted like nothing happened. My dad comes downstairs. He's like, "What'd you do?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, I've been laying here. And he was like, he said he saw you and Tanner and somebody else. I was like, he didn't see me. I wasn't even there. And so finally Tanner takes the blame. And he has to walk down there and apologize to him. The guy was like, "I never wanted to do nothing." He's like, I didn't want to hurt you. Nothing. And I think Tanner's dad was like, "You didn't want to hurt him." He said, "You shot at him with a shotgun 3 times." He's like, they hit your window. He's like, which is not okay. He got in trouble for it. And he was like, but shooting at him is just not the right response. He's like, they weren't breaking, He said, you saw him standing at the end of your driveway walking away. You should have yelled at him and screamed at him. You knew who it was. He said, you should have just called. And, well, that guy tried to apologize for doing that and all that stuff. And I don't think, I don't know how that ever played out.
He's still alive?
Yeah, he's still
I
alive.
gotta go shoot at him.
And, I don't know about that.
It always blew my mind how mad somebody to get at people ding dong ditching them. Like, it's especially around here, there's kids and they're like, "You know how we're gonna solve this? Let's point a gun at some kids." No, dude. I don't know why people would get so mad. Like, you know what it is. Like, I can see how it would be startling, but like, for your first response to be like, "Grab your gun."
Yeah.
I can't say that.
Waiting my whole life to point a gun at some teenagers. Like, that's just,
And I'm trying to.
I don't know.
Every time I
I don't
hear
know,
a
that's
noise
wild.
at night, my first response is like, I'm gonna grab a gun.
I've never heard a noise loud
But
enough for
I mean,
me
I
to
never
grab a
hear
gun.
anything that like startles me to the point where like, I need to grab the gun.
But like,
You know?
I mean, in Greensburg, the crime capital of the world.
yeah, for real.
Like, there's a lot going on around here. Yeah, yeah.
I think on the last report we beat out Chicago. But there was something else that what was it? Matt had a Dodge Intrepid.
Oh boy.
I don't know if we ever told that
Yeah.
story.
Man, I know you got some stories.
And
man.
we took that thing, and it didn't have the heater core was out of it. And when he turned on the heat, I mean, it smelled like just a nest of rats.
Oh shit.
Smelled horrible.
Yeah.
We take that thing, and at the end of Dockward Road, there was a bridge. And if you hit it going, you couldn't hit it coming back because you would jump over and go like into the tree. But you could hit it coming down this way and jump it. And dude, we would take that Dodge Intrepid and go down through there, that little bitty road, and we'd be running 45, and we'd hit that freaking bridge, and it looked like a scene just like out of freaking some kind of car chase.
Like Grand Theft Auto.
That thing would jump, and you would just the front end hit, and in the back, and you'd see sparks coming off with the muffler.
And it wasn't like a
hitting the
smooth
blacktop
ramp either. It was like
it was
you're
rough.
driving, and then you have like a 45-degree angle up almost, and then you go across the bridge. And we hit that thing, and yeah, sparks would fly. I don't know how like we did not do more damage than what we did.
I don't either. There was also one time we had a party down in the woods on my cousin, and we told him it was a camp out, and there was only a couple people coming, but there ended up being like 35 or 40. And for some reason, we put the fire instead of an open 10-acre field. It stayed wet. We put the fire in the woods in the fall. And the fire raised up to the obviously dead trees.
Yeah.
And caught the trees on fire.
Yeah.
There was 30 acres of trees.
So we just found out who's behind the whole California.
Oh, no. I plead the fifth. But
No, that's actually really bad. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
I took and freaking didn't have, like, I don't know what our option was. Thinking back on it, it was so stupid. There was a creek right beside us. But instead of going to the creek with a bucket that we had in the bed of the truck, I decided to drive to the shop, which was a mile and a half down the road. You had to go up a rocky trail to get there. I pop a tire on the way out. Instead of just taking the bucket and going over in the creek and getting the water and throwing it on the fire. I did all that, got back, and we got lucky. The fire died out.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we got lucky
Is
because
that when you had bought them new rims and tires?
So really, what you did was you started a fire and just left the scene.
Yeah.
no, there were people. This is
You
not
were
an
going-
arson attempt.
Well, it sounds like to me is when you came back, you were just like, oh well.
Yeah, well, this is it.
Well, it sounds like to me is you were like, oh shit, I better get out of here. And then you felt bad. And you're like, well, you know what? Let's go back. So what happened?
But I'm trying to think of something else. I mean, I've got a million of them, but trying to think of them
Was
right
that
off the
party
top of my head.
Off of Dockwood Road.
Yep, right off of right, going down off in that gravel road.
Dude, you pop. Yeah. You popped a tire there too. You remember when you got those new rims and tires, and the tires were like super almost like
Bald? Yeah.
You popped a tire then too.
Did I?
Yeah, we were at another. I don't remember what we were doing, but we were at a party then, and we were leaving for whatever reason, and you ended up popping a tire then.
I don't remember that. I remember I bought a set of rims from a guy, and he told me that the lug nuts that were on the truck were the lug nuts the truck, the new rims took, and I put the rims on there, and I drove 5 feet up the road, and the wheel fell off and did it in my fender.
Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh, dude, all the time, like every single weekend, we were always into something stupid,
Oh, yeah.
but it was a blast. It was the most fun ever.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it's like we were. The cool thing about it is like you didn't have to try to have friends. You know, it's kind of like it was just all.
Yeah. Just like senior
Yeah.
camp out. You came to senior camp out? Didn't you come to senior camp out at Courtney Turner's?
I don't remember.
Were you
I
not
don't
there?
remember.
I swore you were there.
Maybe. I probably was. I definitely was.
Yeah, and I slept on that freaking rock.
I also
Everybody
slept
slept on that rock.
Yeah.
And dude, I was 18. Woke up.
Burns burnt me with a lit cigarette. Because he thought it was funny. Like he was, like he literally just like leaning, like because everybody's sleeping on the rock, like by the fire, and like I don't know if he's like smoking a black and mild or something. He just goes. I'm like, what? And he's like laughing. We were all just like 18 drinking for the first time, and I was like, dude, that actually really hurt. And he was like, that was actually really funny. I'm pretty sure I saw it. Funny.
Dude, that's the night. I'm pretty sure it's at that night. Like I was peeing. Maybe. I was peeing off the balcony. And somebody came and assisted me. I ain't gonna say any names, but
Oh, what was his name?
I'm pretty sure there wasn't a girl there.
I'm sure she had a deep voice.
Sign said no girls allowed. That one, I read that. Yeah, I don't remember if I was at, dude. All I remember was Courtney Turner and I had the same birthday. We were born on the same day, June 22nd. Yeah. Is it?
January
Yeah.
31st.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shoot.
Dude, I remember this
I
time
probably
we
was
were
there.
back in elementary school, and it was like 4th grade maybe, and we were lined up in the hallway, and either you were in front of me or I was in front of you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know why, but like, I need you right in the neck.
Oh, it sounds 100%.
Dude, I don't know.
Everyone need me in the nuts. I don't know what was so attractive about my nuts, but everyone. dude.
I don't know why I remember that.
I think I remember that, dude, because like we were pretty tight, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one day you're like, you know what? I'm gonna turn my back on this motherfucker. Pray this guy, dude. No, I got kicked in the nuts so hard in 7th grade that I blacked out.
I got kicked.
It was CJ. What's her
Simpson.
last name? Simpson. Yeah, dude. We were playing volleyball. Actually, it might not have been her. It might have been Brian Milby because like I was kind of playing into it, and I think it was Brian actually looking back because we were playing volleyball at lunch, and she like turned around like kind of pretended to like kick me or whatever, and I like went down, kind of like staging it a little bit, like oh you got me, and like I'm on the ground, and somebody while I was down just fucking up into my Adam's apple, bro. Yeah. And I'm like just laying there, like totally can't move. And yeah, that might be why I don't have children because I expected to have a few, even if I didn't know about them. But dude, I'll tell you one thing. You brought up 3rd, 4th grade. I have a confession to make. Um, we were in Miss Abel's class together. You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Amanda? Yeah.
Amanda. Yeah, Miss Amanda's class. Yeah, yeah. And we were, dude, I had to fart so bad. Like I was holding it in, like, and it was one of those things where, like, if you asked to go to the bathroom, like everybody knew where he's going to the bathroom because I was gonna be gone for a while. Yeah. And I'd been holding it in, bro. And I'm like sitting in the back of the room, just like, please don't let this happen. Right? We were watching a movie that day, and the movie we were watching was about Helen Keller. There's not a lot of talking or noise in that movie. Like that's a pretty silent movie, you know, the Helen Keller narrative. And some point in that film, I can't hold it long. Dude, I let it rip, dude. And this wasn't just any normal art. This went on for like 8 seconds. It probably would have set records. It would have done numbers on like TikTok or Vine. And like we had those metal lockers in the room, just rattling off those metal lockers. And everyone in the room, I think you were actually right in front of me. And you like turn around and you go, "Ooh, Chase," and I go, "It wasn't me. It was him." And I pointed to the kid beside me, and everybody goes, "Ooh," and talking to that kid, and I blamed it on him, and it worked. Everyone believed me. And I'm pretty sure like that kid's in jail now. Like I kind of take a little bit of credit for that. Yeah, dude, it was a fart that ruined somebody's life. Yeah, dude, I don't think he
Hey,
ever got over
it's
that.
in school. I flipped a 4-wheeler and had 26 stitches in my right, like in my shin.
In school.
Yeah, in school, I was going down the steps.
English class.
And I was on crutches. This was middle school because I got to use the elevator. And I can't remember why.
I forgot
I
about the
think it
elevator.
was in history. I think it was what it was. And some girl, I can't remember who it was. I just remember she said something, and I said something back because this is all just a blur. And I hadn't had the stitches for like 24 hours. She rears back and kicks me in the stitches, busts every stitch, blood goes everywhere. I just hit the floor. Like I passed out. I cannot remember who it was, and I don't remember what happened after that. But she said getting kicked in the nuts, and that just made me think I forgot all about that. Oh God, I'll never forget. I remember the pain that happened during it, and I just hit the floor because like it felt like every blood vessel in my leg just busted open. Oh, it hurt so bad.
Was the elevator? Was it next to the bathroom?
Yeah,
that?
it was
Okay.
next to the bathrooms. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't exactly.
Even the
remember,
people
but-
that you didn't like that were hurt, you'd be like, "Oh, I'd help you to go up the elevator."
Yeah, that was the coolest thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
didn't even remember till now.
Yeah.
Like I've been to I've been to middle school like several times since then for basketball games. I don't even pay no attention to it.
Dude, speaking of basketball, we're apparently pretty
We're
good.
really good.
Right now,
Yeah.
dude.
It's like
Have you been able to watch any games with your brother?
I'm gonna try to go on Tuesday.
Is
I
it
heard they're
Tuesday or
playing.
Thursday?
Yeah, 'cause my brother's a senior.
Yeah, I
right now.
know
He's
that.
playing.
Is it
Yeah.
Tuesday or
Yeah,
Thursday?
Tanner. I don't know. I thought it was Tuesday. I hope it's Tuesday 'cause I'm in town.
I thought it was Thursday. I thought it was like an
I'll come
Owensboro.
back up if I have to. But
yeah, it's
God,
in,
well,
it's in Owensboro, or it's on the western side of the state.
Yeah, I thought it was in Owensboro. Because we
all
were
right, I'm gonna have to figure
we
something
were, we were gonna try. We had said something about going because I wanted to go to a game just in regular season. But every home game we had something going on, couldn't make it, and we had said something about going, but I don't know if we'll be able to make it or not because all the way in Owensboro. I mean, that's a 2-hour drive down there, and then you got a 2-hour game. And then by the time you get out and get back home, they got school in the morning, so
Shoot, yeah.
It's gotta be tough with kids too to get out.
It is.
I don't know that whole process. But,
yeah. Well, they get out at 12:30.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, they get out at 12:30.
Wait a
What were you
minute
saying,
for us.
Chase?
it's gotta be hard with kids and everything. I don't know that whole routine of like getting the kids ready, getting them back.
Ducks. It's not bad. You get used to it. It's it's different.
How would you compare it to being a dog?
A lot different. I can't leave my 2-year-old at home.
Oh, true. Yeah.
It's like,
Here's your food. Here's your water. Don't die.
All right, figure it out.
It's like your dog has to go out every, 3-4 hours or something. It's like your kid has to go out like every 20 minutes or something, just constantly.
And it's always something.
Yeah.
It's always something.
You haven't dealt with any like weird questions yet? They ask you questions about stuff you like.
I
Please
just
don't ask me that.
no, not really. I haven't. I've not really had any odd questions. Like I've had. No, actually, no, I haven't. Nothing that I've really had to come up with. Like it is still simple answers. Like where they asked one time where babies come from, and it was just like your mom's
What'd
belly.
you say?
Huh?
What'd you say?
Me and your mom. No, they didn't give him that answer. But no, I just told him that I don't remember. It was just something real simple, and it was just like okay, and turned around and walked away.
Dude,
But I don't. Yeah, I don't really have any.
we had to kind of explain. I'll just tell you a story. We started watching this. I picked a random TV show on like Netflix or something, and we were all in the living room. Kids were playing, and we were watching this show, or I was watching it. This guy had rented out his apartment to somebody, and for whatever reason, but he came back early from this trip to his apartment that he'd rented out to this guy, and when he walks in, there's a man who's naked, a female also naked, with a strap on, behind the man, doing what you're thinking, and we had to try to explain like what was going on. That was yeah, that's lost for words at that point.
Yeah, that's something you wouldn't have had to explain probably in 1994.
Yeah,
I don't think.
no, exactly. And it's like,
I mean, maybe.
how do you explain that when you have
Way more rare.
explain like sex to your kids? Yeah, and so yeah, that was
They just experienced an extreme version.
yeah, that was awkward to explain. No, we haven't had any like
Yeah, I mean, like you just saw Girls Gone Wild in 2002. It's like, well, that's pretty easy. Well, you know, they're at a beach. They had some margaritas, and I don't know. Yeah, that one's. Yeah, you can go in circles on that one pretty quick.
it was very awkward too. But before too long, Carter's 11 now.
You could just like get him in trouble. Just be like, shut up, go here. Like, what did I do wrong? I don't know.
Carter's 11 now, and so before too long, there's going to be a lot of explaining that's going to have to be done about a lot of things. So
It's like you got to decide what it is, like your worldview. Like you got like, because they'll trust you. Like they'll take your word for it at least for a few years. So it's like you kind of get to decide like what that is. Like what is a woman standing behind a man? Going. It's like, well, they're in a. Yeah, he had to explain that to his 11-year-old.
Why was the woman standing behind a man?
So I picked this random.
One of those.
She wasn't standing, and neither was he. But I picked this random TV show on Netflix to watch. I can't remember what it's called, but this guy had rented out his apartment, and he rented out his apartment to somebody. Well, he had to come back at some point during the weekend, and when he walked in, there was a man who was naked. He was on all fours, and a woman behind him who was also naked, but not on all fours. She was only on two, and she had a strap on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I got it. Like.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
You talking about butt mistresses of Pampolina?
I've replayed that scene.
It's my favorite show. But we had to explain that because the kids were watching, and they seen every bit of it. And I couldn't get to the remote in time to like.
You didn't want to.
It's like you came by and you're like, God damn, we're not. It's funny, I told you, quit Losing the remote.
Yeah, so yeah, that was awkward. That was awkward to explain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tougher than like your just normal sex scene. I don't know. That's worse than any sex scene. I think like that any like yeah any matching of the pairs that's pretty tough. Yeah.
Explained like sex to them yet, then you've got to explain sex and everything else at the same
'Cause
time.
then they might think that that's how
How it's
that
supposed
you
to be
guys
done.
like maybe that's how we got here.
Oh boy,
Like, Mom, is that what you did?
is that what you
You
and
know what I
Dad
mean?
did?
I see how this
Yeah.
works.
Well, yeah. They start going to school and well, my mom gets behind my dad. That's how I got here. And their teachers are like, well, the word of our students is that. Dang, yeah, that's tough, man. That's some that's parental complexity right there.
Yeah, I ain't never
Oh,
had that one. Never had anything like that.
well, you just ain't right watching the right TV.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I gotta shut Bluey off.
Yeah.
I gotta start turning on Hooey. Yeah.
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 Who won the football game? Is it over?
Yeah. Buffalo won. Yeah.
I've not watched
Buffalo
one time.
won. We're looking at a hit and run victim family
Dang.
speak out for 1.5 million
Oldham
now.
County, Kentucky.
Dude.
Yeah. But we done been running for two. It doesn't seem like it's that long.
Almost 2.5.
It's almost
Wow.
2.5.
That makes sense. The football game's over. So
That game's been out. It's been over.
I never looked to the left one time. We were like, should we even do it? The football game's on. We're like, well, we'll just leave it on mute. I've not looked once.
I was watching it throughout. I was just kind of taking a look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Green Bay won.
Oh man.
Yeah. How long is y'all's podcast usually?
It runs anywhere from.
Way shorter.
No, I mean we try. I mean, if it's really good, like if we're like
Yeah, it's about. I mean, this is about
going into depth,
Yeah.
like on a lot of different subjects. Like unless somebody has like a time constraint, like if you had a time constraint, I'm sorry.
I'm in Greensboro. Man.
Yeah.
On slow time, dude. You know how many people I have to explain fast time and slow time to? When I went off to college, I asked my professor once. I was like, "Is that on fast time or slow time?" And he's like, "Are you fucking stupid? Like, are you stupid? Why are you?"
Yeah.
Here? Yeah. But dude, I explained to people that we grew up on the line. They're just like mind blown.
People don't
They were
understand
like,
it.
What do
yeah.
you mean? I was like, yeah, dude, we literally grew up on slow time. We had to go to Walmart on fast
Yeah.
time. Like,
People don't understand it
Central
at
and
all.
Eastern.
And it is. It's confusing. I mean.
Yeah, they always have questions like, was that hard? And I'm like,
Yeah, it was. 'Cause I mean, you had to clarify with everybody.
Still is.
yeah. Well, I guess we just said 8:30
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
Like we always just
Yeah.
would like grab fast time, and you just have to remember it's on fast time. And like there was times you'd mess it up, I guess, but we didn't do too bad with it. I guess we figured it out pretty good.
Yeah, I strictly stay on slow time now because like everything that I do mostly runs with slow time, so
I'm
I
the
don't really
exact
get
opposite.
tied in with that. But you work in Campbellsville,
Yeah.
so
But even before then, like we always ran strictly on fast time, no matter what.
I'm just never.
Even.
You want anything to drink? Is there anything? You still drinking that?
Bro, I'm not drinking it, but I mean, I had a cherry ski. I don't know if it's all right.
Well, I
like
was just
skis and
offering you.
cherry in it. I don't know what you drink. What are you drinking? What you got?
Huh?
I don't know. What are y'all
I ain't
drinking?
drinking anything.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
got
I'm
nothing.
good. I'm not gonna sit here.
No, I was
I'm
saying
good.
I got water and ski and some Gatorades.
You got original ski? Dude, I'd go for original ski. I'd kill for original ski. I was like, I got this because I was like, they didn't have original. I was like, I'll drink it.
In there. He's been holding
Yeah,
out.
dude. I'm a slut for original ski, dude. There's not a lot I wouldn't
I didn't
do.
realize like
Yeah. This is how much ski? Okay.
dude, I didn't realize that ski was like only in like central Kentucky area until like we were going where were we going? To like Oklahoma for my brother. Well, this is kind of sad to say.
Dude, what's with the They went with the classic thing, right?
Oh, you're so much better.
Classic can, baby. It's old Greensburg ways, man. Yeah, I love telling people for the homeless tea.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the caffeine content is 69
I
milligrams.
never noticed that. Did you ever drink? You probably didn't, because I'm one of the very few that did. But there was a drink that they made.
Vault. Oh, I thought you were gonna say vault. I was like, I remember at the school. Yeah, so weird. It was like literally the worst drink you could have for teenagers. They were like,
And
you
it
know
was
what? We
like
can
a
sell these
mixture of like Mountain
energy
Dew
drinks.
and energy drinks, and like it tasted a little bit like Mellow Yellow. And but there was a grape drink. It was called New Grape.
Yeah. Yes. I remember
Dude.
that. Yeah, yeah. I love
Oh
those
my
too.
gosh! When me and Kate got married, I never did really get them at the house. And they did. Yeah, they had a lot. Dude, when we got married, I bought them at only place you could really get them at, like in cases. Every now and then was when IGA was still open, or Kroger, or Camelsville. Every now and then you might see them at Walmart. Dude, I would get like, oh gosh, 3 12-packs, and like I would get them that afternoon. And we would come in, and by that night, I would be down to 1 12-pack. Dude, it was awful. It was awful. That was the best drink ever that I've ever had. It went great with everything. Breakfast.
My eyes are popping out of my head. I'm angry right now.
I wonder why.
We just discovered that Cody's addiction to New Grape was his reason for high blood pressure. Yeah. Dude,
And chewing tobacco. God, I dipped like crazy.
backer.
God, I dipped.
Dude, I dipped on the, like, you know what? I would do it. I think I did it twice. And I always, like, wanted to get into it. Dude, what's weird is I always thought I would have, like, an addictive personality. I think I got physically dependent on Klonopin for a while, I'll be honest. Like, that was really tough to, like, get off of. I think that was a lot of the mental stuff, too. Because, like, you just feel like, oh, I need it. Like, there's no way I can get through my day without it. But, like, cigarettes, dude, cigars, Black and Miles, like, dude, we would go over to your house, dude. We'd smoke 20 fucking cigarettes in a day, dude. I never got hooked. I gave it up cold turkey, and it might have just been because I was already anxious and I didn't associate the cigarettes with it. But like, I never got hooked on cigarettes. Never got hooked on tobacco. Like, I tried it.
Yeah, I mean
Like,
there wasn't nobody that came to that house that didn't try it. Like there was freaking at any given time there was just random, and sometimes you didn't even know where they came from. They would just be laying on the table, and everybody would just go through them.
Like random cigarettes?
Yeah, no, like somebody came over, somebody from the house had them, whatever. Then they would be thrown on the kitchen table and everything, and yeah, it would just randomly be there because nobody really like. Honestly, like you walked. Well, me and like you would drive if you went to like we had a gas station actually at the end of the road, like at the end of our street before you got on. What was it, Scott? What was the road? What was the road there at the end of Meredith? You came out onto the. Was it?
I know Sean.
Gosh, I can't remember the name of that road. Yeah, it was a main road. And there was a gas station right there at the corner of it. So I mean, you could just go right down there and get everything. And I mean, half the time you didn't have to drive. I love that house, dude. It was such a good spot. And we had those Arabs move in next door. Dude, they were so cool.
Yeah, dude, we partied hard at that house, and I remember I threw up on Wes's floor. Dude, one morning, because I don't know if Wes was there. I slept in his bed. I threw up everywhere, dude. I think so, dude. I trashed that room, dude. Yeah. I remember one night, like, getting so fucked up, was like, y'all had raked the leaves, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking jump in this pile of leaves. And they were like, why? And I was like, fucking cuz. Like, I don't know. And I just, like, nosedived into this pile of raked leaves. And, like, everybody's like, why did he do that? Screw it. And I was like, it's like snow angels in your leaves. Just totally faded, dude. Yeah, that was fun.
I think I drove. I actually. We went to what was it? I think we went to Bowling Green here a while back, and I actually I was like, you know what? It was me, Kate, and the kids. I was like, just gonna drive by here. I was like, I just want to see what it looks like now. And I drove down through there, and I slowed down. There wasn't nobody there. I don't know if anybody was living there at the time or not. And I just sat out there in the street and just kind of looked. And I was like, dude, there was so many memories in this house. I was like, it was such a fun place. Like, it was literally all of ours first time, like, legit away from Greensburg, away from our parents, away from everyone. It was just us. And it's like, dude, it was every night. Horrible idea. And then Chavis lived right across the street, and he had that odd
I know what you're gonna say.
freaking roommate. I don't remember his name.
I do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. Let's not say it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, he was
We'll talk.
nice
Very
guy.
nice, yeah.
Which really he wasn't nice. He was nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I think there was some issues probably that were had because of the weirdness, but not because of the niceness.
No, I never. No,
Yeah.
he was a nice person.
I'm intrigued.
But yeah, dude, and then like you had like right up the road. Who was it that lived right up the road? You took a left and went up by campus. Before you got to campus, you left our house, took a left, and went up through there, and it was right beside farmhouse. The frat. It was Brock and Grace. They lived in that apartment right there on the left. So like everybody was right there. And then like it's just when like everybody just came there, and it was like the central area. You know what I mean? Oh man, it was such.
I wish I was able to like experience it more, like say that I had the college experience, because I went there because all that shit happened at Louisville that first year. Like my dad overdosed, had the weightlifting accidents, lost my scholarship, went through a breakup. So I'm like, fuck, dude, I need to go back and spend time with my friends. Maybe that'll help me. And like that whole year was just fucked for me. But like, dude, I mean, looking back, if you take away that part of it, god dang, it was cool, dude. Like it was just all of us, literally from high school. And then I was kind of an honorary in like Chavis and Ted's fraternity because I played their parties. That's what, dude. I saw
I never went.
Lots of cool things there.
I never went to those parties.
Well, it was fun.
Ted was like, they were just like douchebags, and Ted and him was like, Ted had a party there at the house, and
some of them were definitely like your stereotype.
oh
frat
dude,
guys,
there
and
was
I couldn't fucking stand
Oh.
that shit. But some of them were like genuinely like Mikey was my roommate in Nashville for 4 years. He's the nicest, coolest dude ever, and he was like the guy who would like book me to play their fraternity. Dude,
Mike
I don't remember the name of it to be honest. Sigma
Nu. Yeah, it was Sigma Nu.
Sigma Nu. And there really were some really nice guys, and Mikey was like literally became one of my best friends. Roomed with him in Nashville. He was Dan and Shay's tour manager now. But yeah, man, he was, and we'd sit on the back, we'd be fucked up, and he'd either be like, "You want to fight?" or he'd be like, "Hey, can I manage your music career?" And I'd be like, "No." Now he's like Dan and Shay's tour manager. He's been Dan and Shay's tour manager for years now, and he's crushing it. But like, I would sneak him into the bars because they were all under 21. I'd get in because I was playing, and I'd be like, "Yeah, he's my tour manager." He'd be like, "All right." And there was this big biker dude named Lauren. I remember his name. Lauren. But dude, you did not want to fucking say that to him in like a you didn't want to say that in a derogatory tone, bro. You better say Mr. Lauren,
Okay,
dude. Like
Lauren,
this dude would fuck you up and eat your breakfast, bro. He was so fucking huge. And he loved me for some reason because I played a song called Green River. That was horrible. Horrible song. I was just getting into songwriting, but he loved it. He's like, play a Green River song, boy. And I did every time he asked me to. And he'd let Mike in, I guess, and a couple other people, but and I'll just say for the camera that we were all
yeah, for sure, always were.
But that was fun, and yeah, I that was like, I was playing for them and getting paid for it, and you'd see a bunch of cool things, especially with the girls.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, this seems like a cool way to live.
Yeah. Please be 18.
That's from one of the camp. That's one of the greatest movies of all time, bro. With Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis. Oh my god,
that's exactly it.
I remember that Raggedy Jungle Gym.
I've not seen that movie forever, but I find myself quoting that all the time. I've got to go back and watch that movie. But yeah, dude, I hated those frat guys. Back to that, and I never really met any of them that I liked. And
Yeah, dude, they literally just paid, like, at first, they'd pay me in a 12-pack of Red's Apple Ale. Because at the time, that's all I was
well, like,
drinking.
I'll never forget, what was it? We had a party there, and Ted was, like, freaking out. He was, like, cleaning the house, everything. Because, like, the first year, dude,
Yeah, they had to do that shit.
yes.
It was like, yeah, dude, clean all the
Yes,
time.
like,
Yeah, I never wanted to
no,
join,
I
but
didn't
I was
want to
like,
be
I didn't
somebody's
like that they just, like,
freaking
let me into their
maid,
parties for
dude.
free. That
Yeah,
was cool.
you had to be there. I mean, you were freaking, yeah, it was ridiculous. And,
Dealing with puke.
I mean, well, everything pretty much. Anything you think of. And they come to our house. Me and Cobb and Wes are not in a frat. You know, don't care nothing about it. And we go to the bathroom. Me and Cobb were standing there. We were walking around just making sure, like, nothing was stolen, nothing was broken, and that we could get our deposit back when we left. And, dude, we opened the bathroom door because it was like it was shut, but like it was still open. You know what I'm saying? And we thought, well, somebody's gonna what we thought was somebody had the door locked and probably like pushed it and was afraid that it was gonna be locked and shut and we wouldn't be able to get back in it. So we just went ahead and opened it up, and there was 2 guys in there doing coke,
Yeah.
and they were like, "You want some of this?"
Yeah.
And Cobb was like, "Hell no!" and slammed the door shut. He was like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, I did."
At least they weren't doing it.
He was like, "Wow," and just turns around and walks away.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, it was just like they were just, I don't know. I never really got to talk to any of them. I guess that were down to earth. All the ones that I talked to were like daddy's money douchebags. You know what I'm saying?
There was some of that, man, and I always have like a chip on my shoulder with that shit too. There's so much of that in Nashville, man. Like I had no idea the shit I was up against and like why I had to fight so hard for a spot a lot of times in music. And like I remember I was working a place one time, and a dude's like, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" I was like a guitar player or something. Nice guy. But like, he's like, my car broke down or whatever. He's like, yeah, man, I'll pick you up for the show, or whatever. And then the next day, he's like, hey, man, you don't have to worry about it. Like, I can drive myself now. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Dude pulls up in a fucking Range Rover. I'm like, what? I was like, oh yeah, my dad got it for me. I was like, that car was, about on its last leg, and I was like, Dad just bought you a Range Rover, dude. I'm like, God. And then I started realizing, I was like, oh, like. Most of these people that are able to chase their dreams and actually move to a city and don't have to have 2 jobs and make a living, like they're funded by like they don't have to have a job or they don't have to do like they're able to go all in because they don't have to work. And at that moment I had such a chip on my shoulder. I was like, I'm gonna work twice as hard as all these motherfuckers because I didn't come from shit and I'm having to have 2 jobs and still work harder than them and the music
It's an
thing.
awesome
So
mentality to have too. To know that, to like know what you're up against, and then still have that mentality to, like, all right, I'm going to work twice as hard and prove my weirdness. That's a good perspective to have.
there was a lot of that like daddies. I felt that with the frat stuff too, because like, and I think that's why I never liked cocaine, because I always thought cocaine was a daddy's money drug, and I was like, fuck you and your rich drugs. I was like, when I respect heroin. Yeah, exactly. I respect amphetamines, brother. Give me some of that poor man's shit. You want my respect?
I've always wondered this, and I didn't go to college to know. Like, what's it mean? Like, when you join a fraternity, what does that mean? Like,
You just join a group of guys in a house and you.
is this like being a Freemason, or is it like
No,
I don't think so, but they do have like some kind of like entry stuff you got to do. That's kind of, I think they apparently took it away, but like you used to have to do weird shit to like rituals to like be in. I don't know if it
Pledge
was like
week.
pledge, yeah. Which sometimes it's just like clean the house, but sometimes it's like
Butt chug 24
lick,
fingers.
yeah,
like
turn the lights off and lick this thing, and it turns out to be somebody's nutsack or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
who knows? I don't know. I'm sure it's different
Yeah.
everywhere, but I'm sure they do some weird
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, they
don't know.
took a lot of it away. Hazing is what they called it.
Hazing is what it
pledge
was. Yeah. 'Cause the whole like connotation of hazing was like it's something really bad. You know what I mean? You have to do something, and that proves to us that you're willing to be a part of the group and to, like commit to us, and you're one of our brothers, and you're not gonna like just
to
back
make
out.
it like, this is what
Yeah.
I didn't like. They tried to make it like, oh, if you get a job and you're in an interview and they find out that the guy that you're going against was in our fraternity, they'll choose him over you because of the brotherhood. And I'm like, there probably is, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I don't care. Like it doesn't make me want to freaking.
Like I said though, there's some good there was some good dudes in there. Like I said, my buddy Mikey, and there's a couple other buddies I had. I'm trying to think. There's a guy named Drew I really liked. Um, I'm trying to think some other guys. There was a guy named Austin that came to our house for years after like when me and Mikey lived together. It was in the fraternity. A couple other guys that like booked me to play there. They were just like super nice to me, and probably just because they like the music, or whatever. But I feel like I got to know them well, and they were nice. But like I know Mikey, like he's definitely wasn't like rich kid daddy's money shit. He just like worked his ass off his whole life, dude. And I respect that so much. Like anybody that like works hard to get to a particular place, like even if you think like, hey, this fraternity could like make my future better, and if that means I have to have a second job to be in it, I'm gonna do it. Like that, I'll fuck with that motherfucker way more than I will the guy who got in there because their
And
parents are
see, I
paying
never
for it.
got to
You know what I
meet
mean?
any of them. Like I never met
Yeah,
those. I just
yeah,
met the real douchey. You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? And
yeah,
I never cared. That just gave me a bad taste for them all. You know what I mean?
for sure. Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure there's just that, like you're in college, just that air of like, oh, I'm a part of something and you're not, which
Yeah,
means I'm better.
I
They
think
were,
that was a
everybody
lot
was
of it
fighting for
for
that,
real.
Where
dude.
did the
It's,
like frat names come from?
Greek,
I think it's all
it's
Greek
Greek
shit. Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, like
yeah. We call it Greek life,
Yeah,
I
that's
guess.
what
You
they call it. Yeah, yeah.
know?
hmm But yeah, it's just like I don't know. And so that Mikey guy, you said he is Dan and Shay's store manager.
Yeah, store
That's
manager.
cool. That's awesome.
dang.
Yeah, he's a really good dude, man. Yeah, he got that job when he was like 22 too. So like, I mean, came out of college, like started working for the CMAs, like as an intern, and then just like started hanging out in the groups and just like bust. Dude, when I lived with that guy, we were roommates because like you had to have when you're just getting started in Nashville, you have to have a roommate. Everything's so
Yeah,
goddamn expensive. Like our rent was $2,400 in a 3 bedroom house. And so like we split it 3 ways, which was still $800. And like we're
yeah,
scraping. You know what I mean? Like pennies to get. But like that is so expensive. Like when you come from a town when they told me that like my rent was gonna be $800, I was like, oh, but we're splitting it 3 ways. And they were like,
That is split.
no, that is split 3 ways. I was like, excuse me? Dude, I was like, that's $800 just for me is more than my parents ever paid for their rents. You know what I mean? Like,
Still, that's still.
That's crazy, dude. Well,
yeah,
for around here, it's insane, but it's getting that way.
yeah. But dude, that guy would like be up at 5 in the morning working, he'd still be up at 2 that night. Like, so I respect anybody that works hard no matter what they come from, dude. Like, even if you came from a great situation, but you're a hard worker, you got great values, good for
Yeah.
you, you know? Like, because I don't want to, like, just hate on anybody that came from a better situation from me. I think, like, everybody's just handed a deck of cards and, like, you just play them the best you
Yeah,
can. And every time you just try to trade up, you know? If you started with a good hand, maybe you just keep trading up.
exactly.
But I mean, get a little bit privileged, but, like, if you at least have good values and are a good person, like, that's
Yeah,
fine,
I'm a firm
you know?
believer in everybody has their chance to make the money. Everybody does. And if you don't take that opportunity, that's on them. But I think everybody gets a chance for success in their life. And I mean, success for everybody obviously can be different.
Yeah. Well, you, dude, like I told you the other day, like we were on the phone. I was like, I remember we were in college, and Cody one day he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna drop out of school, be a chicken farmer." I was like, "This guy's lost his damn mind." Like, what the? Like, did you not listen to everybody? They said we had to go to college if we didn't want to live in a box. What are you doing, bro? And we were like, all right, well, Cody's lost it, dude. Like,
Got off the
and
deal.
yeah, and then I'll be damned. He's farming chickens. Like, I thought he was just joking.
I didn't know what he meant when he said he was gonna be breeding chickens. I
Yeah.
caught him in the chicken houses one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, you can have a quite lucrative career. And
I mean, it can make you a living most times.
He had some chickens down.
guy's got a furnished basement over here, brother.
You said something about semen. I meant to ask you about that earlier. Why we just keep bouncing off. And, like, what was it like walking, like, red carpets and stuff like that? Like, what is
Oh,
the
yeah.
feeling behind that? That's something I'll never experience.
Yeah, and I hope people see this like on my pages and shit. Like to be honest, I'm fighting for my life constantly. Always fighting for my life. Like, please don't take this away from me, please. Like, I'm always worried somebody's gonna find out that I ain't shit, dude. And they're gonna find out I'm from fucking Greensburg and kick my ass back home. Like, oh, this guy sucks. You know what I mean? And like, we don't like him or whatever. I don't know. Like, dude, I remember
Like imposter syndrome.
Hunter. I don't ever feel like I deserve to be there, dude. And
Like when you meet like the big names, like when you meet those people, is that when you're like, I should not be here? I should still be delivering pizza at Snappy's.
yeah, dude, I got one more snapping and pizza story. I'll tell you. It's the craziest things ever happened to me. It's why I have a hard time asking people how they're doing. Like some people might think I'm an asshole because like somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'll tell them. It's all I don't usually ask it
Yeah.
back. It's because of this experience. I go up to this lady. I deliver pizza, pepperoni pizza, Snappy Beast, whatever it was back in the day. And I said, "Hey, ma'am, here's your pizza. How you doing?" She goes, "Not good. Got cancer, dude." It's been 15 years. I still have not come up with a response to that, dude. I still don't know what to say to her. I've left. I've traveled thousands of miles. I've seen the world. I don't know. I couldn't go back to her house and have a response to that right now.
Been sitting in bars in England and asking him, he's like, "What would you say to this?"
What do you do?
I don't know, mate.
Well, here's your pizza.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, but back to the imposter syndrome shit. Was that what we were talking about? The imposter syndrome?
Meeting bigger people and
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've met some really great guys, man. I met Tim McGraw. I played a writers round with Thomas Rhett in London and Lady A, Midland. Yeah, I mean some really cool shit, man. Yeah, I got Thomas Rhett to call me his best friend from the stage. Yeah, and
Are you
we had
still
just
best
met.
friends now?
He was like, hey, he's like, how do you want me to introduce you? I was like, say that I'm your best friend. He's like, so? I was like, and he goes, this is my best friend Chase McDaniel. And I was like, this is the greatest time of my life.
So was that like you got into those things? Was that because of were you signed at the time? Okay,
I
so you got in because that's what I was gonna ask. Was it like because
yeah, project was out, daughter was out, like all those songs were popping, and then they sent me off to London and a bunch of cool shows. But yeah, I opened up for Rally Green like 5 or 6 times last summer. Not this last summer, the summer before last. Dude, that guy sells free tickets. Dude.
Look at him.
Where we went. Dude, I know. Dude, it was crazy, dude. Like
Isn't he hanging out with
it's hard to make fun of that
Megan
guy. There's
Maroney?
nothing. Yeah, there's nothing on that guy,
Dang,
dude.
I'm married.
Dude, it'd be before the show, dude, and Riley's running the stadium steps. Like we're playing a state fair or something. He has his shirt off and he's running up and down the stadium steps. And I'm like, hardly can make it a lap around the freaking courtyard, bro. And but he did say something nice, man. He said, "How about that James Damn boy? Pretty good." I was like, "Hell yeah, brother." This song's a project. Wait for me to rap. Yeah, he's a nice guy though, man. He's cool. Yeah, I met some cool dudes, man. But I think all the time, dude. Yeah, I'm just like fighting to stay above water up there. Wait till everybody figures out that I ain't shit. But in the meantime, dude, I'm just trying to make great music, say something that matters, and write about my real life experience, and hopefully that resonates with somebody. I write a lot about the mental health stuff, and I think a lot of, it's been hard for me to get that shit out because, like I said, you're playing stuff for like people in the office and everything, and like not to say that like I have some really great people, but like sometimes they want me to write about that stuff.
You to go with what's going.
Hit radio song, and I'm like, cool, but that ain't always me, man. It's like I want to write about stuff that my people back home want to hear and need to hear, and but I needed to hear. That's my.
So when are you? So like you said, you got started and then all that stuff that happened. When are you planning on going on tour again? Like after you release your song? After you release your song in February?
It'll be this year. I don't know if it'll be back in February because I'm doing a lot of stuff soon that I can't like fully disclose yet. But yeah, I'm hoping this song connects. It's one of my favorite songs, dude. When I wrote it, I had chills just because like the phrase to me, like I feel like I burned down to heaven. Like it just sent like a electric shock through my body, and I was like, man, this is really how I felt. I hope this connects with somebody, and but so I'm hoping that song like really relates to people, and but also like I've got an album coming out this fall, so I think probably I can't remember we got the whole plan now. It's either August or September. I think August. So yeah, I'm dropping my debut album, and I'm super excited.
Awesome. How many songs are on your debut album?
I think 12 or 13. Yeah.
You do all your you write all of your songs.
I write everything, even the wanting grandbabies. I've been practicing how.
So I ain't kidding, man. That was a good line. Like
I walk in, he goes, "Man, that line's just that hit home." Thanks, man.
let's do it 3 times. Maybe 4.
I love Brad Paisley, and I love songs that just like are
Yeah.
clever because you can feel the personality in the song. Like it's like if you say, "I want to check you
Yeah.
ticks," like to me, like that's freaking hilarious, bro. Like or like his, the I'm so much cooler online. Like it's just that's stuff that's relevant and real, and it's also just funny.
Oh, yeah. What did
Oh,
I say? Yeah, let's go on the back route. Back road home. Yeah, that's what I said. I forgot about that. I didn't even think about
I never thought about that one. That's
that.
pretty good.
But like on your you write all your songs by yourself. Like
By myself,
yeah. So like if say you write a song with someone, do you have to give them writing credit
yeah,
and they
writing
get paid
credits.
for that?
Yeah, as
Do
a
you want to write some songs right now?
yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
I was just curious. I'm hurting.
Sometimes the best songs just having fun. Like Project was a total accident, bro. I walked into my
Dude,
buddy's
that's like how
studio.
that's how a lot of people say that happens, Their first hit song, their first kid.
Yeah,
That's all an accident.
yeah,
It's crazy.
their first
Yeah,
charge.
first Melanie. I was having fun. Anyways, go ahead.
I walked in the studio. I was like, I got this beat I made. I forgot the name in it. It's just called Project. I was like, dude, well, I got a song title on my phone called Project, and he's like, no, it's like just the default of like whenever you make a beat, but you didn't forgot the name, and it's just called Project. It was like Project 6 or whatever. I was like, no, I literally have a song I did called Project, and he started playing the beat, and I was like, baby, I'm a project, and he's like, oh shit, and so we just like wrote it to like literally a beat that he didn't even
How
finish.
long did it?
It was a total
How
accident.
long? Okay. How long did it take you to from I know you might have had breaks in between or whatever, but like how long did it take you from start to finish to just like the lyrics part?
The lyrics part, I usually take my time on the lyrics, but like you usually know like when something's cool, it comes pretty quick. Project came pretty quick. We wrote the whole song pretty quick. But I didn't write the rap part till the next day, and I regret that.
The rap part?
Yeah, 'cause sometimes I'm like, was that a smart move? Like,
Apparently.
well, maybe. Hey, but I am trying to be a country singer, so like, and I think that probably put some barriers in my way, like because like I love country music, man. I grew up on Randy
Yeah,
Travis,
the
Josh
classics.
Turner,
Yeah.
Tim McGraw, Alan Jackson, Keith Whitley. Like those were my first fucking loves, dude. Like no, I don't know if anybody in this town loved country music like I did, bro. Like like the old shit, the real shit. And so, but like as I got older, I found other stuff. I was a playlist kid, and also like my mom had an Eminem CD. They had a Nickelback CD. So like my dad only listened to rock music, so I was exposed to other shit, even though country music was all my first love. And so I think when I got started, I was thinking I was like, it was so insecure, dude. I was thinking my voice isn't good enough, my songwriting isn't good enough. I'm not good looking enough. At the time, everybody in Nashville 6'5" and beautiful, and it's like I'll never be an artist. I need to be really, really different, and I need to be really, really like shocking. So I was like, what if I put a rap in my song? You know what I mean? And like I can do a pretty good job at it, and like I do sometimes freestyle or whatever, like just making fun of myself or having fun in the car. And I was doing it kind of often, like in songwriting sessions. It just kind of came naturally to me. And I don't know if that was the Eminem influence on me growing up, or like I listened to a little bit of it in high school and college. But like, I was like, hey, maybe this is just who I am. Maybe I'm just like have this side to me. So I just did it, and it fucking yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
But I think it caused me a little bit of backlash in like the country
Yeah.
community to do that. You know what I mean? And so now, like sometimes I wonder if that was like a good idea to like fully like show everybody all my influences or like like hey like yeah these are my influences but also I am trying to be a country artist and that's truly who
Yeah.
I am. You know
Yeah.
what
I
I
think
mean?
people appreciate like you being authentic and stuff. I feel like people like I know like I would like appreciate somebody being authentic. Like I see who they truly are instead of who they're trying to be. And I
You
think
can.
people appreciate that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean.
I agree. I think people feel that with you guys on this thing, dude. I think it's like when I listened I loved it, dude. I was like, man, I just feel like I mean people can call out bullshit so easy and it's not like I don't know, people want that, they want authenticity, they want something real, like even if you're like I don't know, you're lying to them, you better lie well.
So you come back and repeat that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. That's my thing. It's like reason, which I told you on the phone when we were talking. That's the whole reason we. Well, I mean, the only reason we really started this was just to kind of be able to hang out and see each other every now and then, you know, because it went for a long, long time where we like never even got to talk, hang out, see each other, nothing, you know, and this gave us an excuse to kind of get together. We try to do it once a week is what we've always tried to do. And just hang out and just, you know, and just, we never really have anything planned for anything. You know what I mean? Like, we literally, it just comes off, like, right off.
Yeah.
Yeah, shooting off
Yeah,
hip.
dude.
We never come into it with a scripted thing. It's just, we don't want it to be that way. All we plan on is
Yeah.
for people to hear this and, like, hopefully they listen to it and have a laugh and kind of turn around, like if they're having a bad day or something along those lines, just kind of listen to it, get a laugh, and kind of help them to forget about it for a couple hours.
Yeah,
You know, that's kind of the thing that it is, and you know, I mean, don't come looking for information. I mean, yeah, check your sources.
Here's something here. You better go Google it real
This,
quick.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, some things, you know, some podcasts will be different, but I mean, don't take it, you know, unless they're, you know, they know what they're talking about. Because most of the time I don't. But
Dude, I think it helps people just feel like they're part of a conversation too. Like if I go on a long drive, like I'm listening to a podcast, just because like you're alone in a car, if you're by yourself, whatever. Like it's like, you don't want to feel alone for a little bit. Turn on something,
yeah,
makes you feel like you're participating in
yeah.
it, and it's like I think one of the cool things, but also weird things about like doing what I do is that like some people feel like they know me like
What is that
personally,
like?
and like that's what I want. You know what I mean? Like I want to be so unapologetically myself that like somebody's like I feel as if I know
Yeah,
him. You
but
know what I
like,
mean? And
what is it like meeting people that feel like they know you, but you have no idea who they are? And there's like, you know, there's thousands standing there waiting, you know, to meet you.
yeah, sometimes it's great because I don't. It's like you don't have to explain
Yeah.
yourself. Like one of the things that I hated going to college was that I was in a city for the first time. I was in a room with a bunch of people I don't know, and it's like none of them took the opportunity to get to know me, and I had no friends for the first time in my
Yeah.
life. And so, I'm alone, don't know anybody. I'm going through all this shit back home. I don't have like the mental capacity to like say hi to somebody because I'm going through shit. And so like it seemed like nobody wanted to be my friend. And so like to have people that want to be my friend already is pretty cool, you know. And it feels like they know me and they want to know me and I appreciate that. And then you have some people who aren't so cool.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're like I told you, that guy that wanted to be my dad. I was like, brother, I'll pass,
So,
brother.
like, have you been to the point yet that like women have flashed you at your shows through bras on your stage, anything like that?
Trying to think.
I'm curious. You know, I mean, that's what you think of. Seriously.
Not in the past couple of years. I think like what I'm doing, it's just not the culture of my shows.
It'd be weird if a woman took her panties off for your doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My dad too, bro. Yeah. Um. Yeah, you'd think like with Project or something, people would like do it maybe, but I don't know, man. But no, I mean, I've had a couple girls on a meet and greet try to drop it low on me, and then somebody has to jump in like, hey, we don't do that here, dude. Um. But no, I think I got that kind of stuff like way more like when I was playing fraternity
Yeah.
parties and
Yeah.
stuff in college.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause it's just everybody's drunk, everybody's having a wild time, and I don't know. Now it's like it's still a party, like everybody's having a good time, but like also I'm up there, I'm like, you ever struggle with addiction and mental health? They're like, yeah, that kind of dries everything up pretty quick.
Who's depressed?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But it's great because I get to really truly connect with who people are, and I think that's more than skin deep. You know. You know. I think when you're young, you want to be that rock star that's like, oh yeah, dude, they're just throwing them at me. You get to be Morgan, like everybody, like literally every show. I think everybody, but then you get older and you're just like,
Have
nobody
you had the
believes in me
opportunity to
anymore.
meet him? Like, be around him?
Yeah, I met
Is
Morgan.
it pretty
Yeah, I
cool?
met Morgan.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's nice. So my he used to be I don't know how much, but my agent used to be his agent. And so, yeah, my agent's one of the best guys in the world, nicest human beings, and he had a stroke horribly right before, like probably 3 or 4 years before I met him, and that was when he had
Yeah.
Morgan. And so then, when all that was going on, he was recovering. Morgan went to work with his son, and so now Morgan is with his son, who has a massive booking agency.
Okay, so the
company.
guy you're with is an older. The agent you're with.
He's an older guy. I think, yeah, he was, yeah, and I'm not sure how old he is, but he's doing great, man. He gets around well. He's been exercising again. Um, but yeah, man, said he was golfing one day, got too hot, and then and man, he was in the hospital for like 3 months.
Oh,
Had a stroke, you said?
And then had a stroke, and then his whole he spent years recovering. So legend in the music industry, nicest guy in the world. I owe him my life, and um, but yeah, man, he really went through it. And then when he found me, was kind of his. Well, he still had Aldine, and then he was like, but Aldine's kind of coasting, I guess, because he's already made it. He's kind of easy to take care of, and like with me, he was really able to take the time with me because he had all that
yeah.
time, and so really cared, was really passionate, and man, for that kind of time and effort and care, like I owe that guy my life. In my
So how
world.
do they like? Two questions here. This is a two-parter. How do you even get that job? Like, what are the qualifications to be an agent to a musician? And also, how do you? What the heck? I don't know what that was. How do they get paid? Do you pay them? Does like what do they get a percentage of
I'll do the best I can on that one. I'm not sure how you get that job. I guess you would just apply for it if you saw an opening. Like there's booking agencies, and so you have like William Morris, which is WME. You have CAA, Creative Artists Agency. You have UTA, United Talent Agency, and these are all corporations that hire agents and then hire people to train agents to then like book artist shows. And so like what they do, in my agent's case, is his dad was an agent manager, and so his dad was Elvis's first manager at
Oh,
Songwriting.
so he was already on to a
Yeah.
good leg.
Yeah, before the evil guy took over Elvis, his dad was Elvis's first manager. Um, and then um, so then he started an agency, and then so that's how he kind of got into it. Is he was doing other things, and then his wife, um, him and his wife got married. She got pregnant, and then his dad passed away. And so I think he was kind of in a position that was like, kind of like where I was. He's like, you got to sink or swim here. You're in your early 20s, you got a kid, got a family, just lost your dad, and then he was in a position to maybe like start taking over the company or work as an agent. So he did that. And I think when you're starting out, you don't do really well. Like it's like because when they book a show, I think they get like 10% of the total cut of whatever they're paying the artist. And then, but if you're working for a major company, you might get a salary too. I don't know. But I'm assuming if you're just starting out, there's no salary. You're only making whatever artists you have. So you're really having to grind and like work your way up to the top. Does that answer everything?
I mean, the only thing that I have that was left out was like, what are the like? Well, I mean, his case, his dad did it, so I mean, he kind of got grandfathered in. But like, what are the qualifications to like? You know what I mean?
The music industry, I think the best answer to that is that there's some people that major in music business and stuff. They go to Belmont or some of those colleges down there. But I think the best, even beyond that, I think the reason why that works is beyond that, it's relationships. They know somebody who works,
And
there.
that's pretty much it.
And they have the personality traits that they think will be a good fit
Yeah.
in business. Yeah, it's all about are you likable? Can you go have a drink with somebody and and sell them on something?
It's like
Are you good at maintaining long-term business relationships? Like that kind of thing. It's a personality. Are you fun to hang around?
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
I would never ask you like how much you made or nothing like that. Like how does like
Spill
an
it.
artist, like how does like an artist get paid?
But what was your 2023 tax?
Yeah. Let me see it. I know you brought it.
For 2 weeks. Like how does like an artist get paid? Is it like is it like a monthly like thing or like a
Totally different, man. So it's like as an artist, you're a business owner. Like I am, quote unquote, CEO of Chase McDaniel Music. So, and when I was independent, I had multiple sources of income. So like I would make money on the master of the song. And what that means is I own the song, like as the performer of the song. So I get royalties from Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, anybody that downloaded on iTunes, sales. I get paid directly from that as the owner of that song. When you sign a record deal, depending on what kind of deal you sign, you might give up that ownership or you might give them a licensing deal. That way, then they make the money on those songs. But going forward, they pay for your future recordings and you get a cut of those recordings. So really, the best way that artists have to make money is through touring. But even that changes, and so like to really do well, you have to break through the noise, and like at least if you have a label deal, because they can take such a high percentage. That's whereas if you're independent and doing really well, you're on the whole pie. Now, say each time you bring somebody on your team, you're giving up slices of that pie, and you got to figure out how much of that pie you want to give up and how much value they're bringing to your business. Did they grow your business to, like, say you make $100,000 independently a year, but if you add on a label manager agent, you could make $1 million a year. Now, really, in all likelihood, you're going to come out with still $100,000 a year because they're taking a cut of all that $1 million, and you're probably still coming out with about 100,000, maybe a little less. And so you have to decide of whether or not bringing on that team is worth the growth, and if long term you can break far enough to make more than you know what I mean. Otherwise, you stay independent. You know what I mean, and that might be your ceiling. That might be the most you could ever make. Which for some people, that's either as far as they can go or as far as they want to go, or and also like the fear of that is the longevity. Is that can you maintain that by yourself for more than 5 years? And you have to make those decisions for yourself.
As opposed to like staying independent, like you get
Mhm.
like I would assume you get like way more exposure.
Essentially, I mean that's the hope. So basically, you sign on thinking that you have a marketing team, you have these people that are willing to work and promote your songs, and the idea is that they would showcase your song to a wider audience. And so the hope is that you are giving up a piece of your company in order to be exposed to a wider audience, and by being exposed to them, then you would continue to grow. And really, for me, the reason that I did what I did, is because I could have been an independent artist. I was doing just fine. But the reason I did what I did is had nothing to do with money. Like, if anything, it would have been much better for me to remain an independent artist. Just because I had done everything that I did on social media, I owned everything. I built my audience. I connected with them. They're like my family, all that stuff. And but I'm so impact driven that like I wanted my message to be able to reach people that needed to hear it. And I felt like I could only go so far with that by using Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And I feel like so many people in the world are struggling right now. They're not having these conversations. I'm willing to have these conversations. I've been through hell and back, and I've found some light on the other side. Can I have more conversations like the one that I did with that veteran? If I can have that opportunity, um, I think that's what I want, and I think that's what I'm here to do. I think that's my purpose.
It's also it's not like you're not like financially driven, like it's more like it's way more than
Dude, if I could have seriously, man, like my dream, if I could have a house, like a little house in the middle of nowhere, on a little farm, a little pond back there where I could fish, like, dude, I don't need much at all. Like I don't screw the pond actually. If I just had a little house in the middle of nowhere, and was able to do what I do for a living, um, that'd be it. Yeah, someday. It don't need to be a big house. It don't need to be much. I just would like to do this the rest of my life and like to you know, be able to get by. Like literally, if I could just get by and do music, that's great. It's a dream, you know.
dude, yeah, you can fish and eat spawn
Yeah.
as long as they don't move.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
you were talking about like with the record label and stuff, like off of like your social media and stuff. I mean, I'm sure that you get revenue from probably Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and all those, YouTube, everything. Is that solely yours when that comes in? Is that solely yours, or do they get portions of that too?
Yeah. It depends. So if it and like all of that's changed too, because like you can like there was this great thing in 2022 where like Facebook had this Reels bonus program where they're trying to get everybody to come over and make content on Facebook, and so like they were paying like something stupid. It was like $10 for every 100 every 1,000 views or some shit. It was like unbelievable. But like now it's like all ad based, and so like it's like you might get like 2 cents for every 100 views that you make or whatever. Um, and that depends on like whether yeah. And so that money depends on whether it has a song of mine that the label licensor owns in it or not. And if it does have a song that the label licensed or paid for in it, the label gets that money. If it's a video that I just made of me talking or whatever, that would go to, to my Chase McDaniel music um, account. I get it's a
Yeah.
business account. That's
Yeah.
mine. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was weird because, like, I had to get a business manager, which is super common in music. It's like you have to once you sign a record deal. Because they manage all like the transactions. Because like a label will like is like a bank. It's like they'll give an artist money to go do this and this and that. And before that, dude, I was running my own. I was paying everybody. I was writing the checks. I was like, and that's a little overwhelming doing my own taxes, or hiring somebody to do it. But like it was manageable. But once you get a label and a manager involved, there's so many transactions and receipts you got to keep up with. You can't do that. And so they like introduce you to people like business managers that can like do that for you because it's so freaking insane. Like the numbers and the statistics and the percentages and like pay me back and you pay me back. And it's just like, you don't want to have those conversations. You can't. So it's like, you got to have somebody do that. And they take a percentage. So like typically a business manager will take, 3 to 5%. A manager takes 15 to 20%. And a label takes whatever you came up with on your contract. So, and that can vary wildly.
That's a lot to keep up with. I see how it would be difficult to like doing it on your own. Like I see how that could be insanely overwhelming.
Yeah, and that was a big trade off too. It was just a mental thing. I got to where I couldn't write songs anymore.
I said I
What's
can't
that?
even pay my own taxes.
Yeah. They said you couldn't find them. I was like, well, somebody's gonna find you here in a little bit.
I just can't find them.
I changed my mailing address.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's running any business. It's kind of
Yeah.
like that.
It is.
You run a business and you like that's the hard part, man. It's like I just didn't realize. Like, thank God, like I'm able to like work at it and understand it because there's so many people in this industry who have just no business sense. And you kind of have to at least take care of yourself. Like, it's like you have to know what you can and can't afford. Like, there's so many artists I've heard of. I don't know if it's true story or not, but they didn't know that they were the ones paying for their shit. It's like they just assume the label was paying for it. It's like, no, the label's giving you a loan. Like, they're like if they give you $30,000 to do, I don't know, a radio tour or whatever, it's like that's your money. You have to pay them that back before they give you a dime. And so, like, I've heard of people not knowing that, and they're just like, "Why am I not making any royalties? My song's #1." It's like because you just borrowed $1 million from the label, and until you pay them back, you don't make any money. And so that's how you get dropped. Is like, if you put out a song, say it doesn't do too well or whatever, and the label don't recoup their money for long enough, if you're in the red, that means they just wasted a bunch of money on you. They don't make anything back. So it's like, well, you're just an investment. You know what I mean? You become a bad investment. Yeah. Then it gets weird. Relationships get weird because like you have these friends, you think they're your friend, and you genuinely do build genuine friendships with people, but then they're like, oh, we gotta let this guy go, and it just gets awkward for everybody. And it's like, who reaches out first? How do we have this dinner when it's like we just had to let this guy go or this guy to make this business deal? And it's like it gets weird, man. And that's what sucks is like I'm such a genuine relationship guy. Like I don't give a two fucks about networking with somebody and being fake friends with somebody. But to me, fuck that shit. Like we're either gonna be cool and like we can hang out forever, or we won't. And that's the hard thing about like for me is like I take a lot of those things really to heart. You know.
I sound like you get real quick too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you said, if you have no business sense. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only one way to learn that somebody's not screwing you, and that's to learn when you're getting screwed.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously.
Like that guy on the TV show, man.
Yeah. And
You had to explain to your little
I mean, but for real, like it is so wild to me that like people just don't understand when they're getting sugar coated. I mean,
I'm bad at it.
I don't understand.
Dude, I'm
Really?
bad at it. Yeah, dude. I still tease Chavis about it sometimes too because, like, remember in school when they did I didn't do it, I almost did it, but it was that you should be here thing or whatever. It was like that vacation, like
Yeah,
it was like
they held
it was
up
like a pyramid
family
thing. Yeah, it was a pyramid thing, and everybody gets into those pyramid things.
schemes.
And
And Cody's
yeah,
done a couple.
Yeah, I got involved in some.
I mean, oh, did you? Well, maybe they work.
I didn't make any money.
Yeah, yeah. But you get sold into these things, you're like, damn, this sounds good. Be financially free in 3 months. It's like this is a deal. And then you get in and you're like, oh shit, I made $3 last month.
I forgot
Uh,
about that.
But I'm the same way. Like, I feel like you just smile at me and tell me, hey, this was good. I'm like, oh, good. This sounds so good. I can't pass
I will
this up.
tell you that being around my dad, I have to thank him for that. Growing up, he is he came from nothing. And
Dude, if he owns the damn T-Mart now,
he don't own
that's
T-Mart.
a lot. Oh, yeah.
No, I said he owns the old bank. It's not even a
Oh,
bank.
my
It's
bad,
just a
man.
building.
That's even better.
He owns the bank that owns T-Mart.
That bank has a lien on T-Mart right now, dude.
he
Awesome.
he didn't have anything, and I mean he's kind of taught me like not like direct. It's been indirectly. It's been like indirect teaching, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like he would do like a deal with somebody on buying or trading or doing something like that, and he would make like I would be there and listen in. Like he would want me to sit there and listen. And like he's taught me a lot like about what to watch for, how to figure up like hours on like say somebody was going to do a job, how to figure up hours on what they're going to charge you. Kind of go through what he's taught me a little bit about everything so that when it comes to something breaking or something messing up that I can understand what needs to be fixed and know what things cost and those kind of and dealing like taxes. Like I do my own like I get my own taxes prepared and then I take them to the CPA and then they file them right there.
Yeah.
So like you got to understand how to use your tax code, like what to use to get your breaks, what to use, where you can keep your money. You don't have to freaking like my dad always said, I would rather touch my money than not be able to see it. So like if you had to spend money and buy a piece of equipment, at least you have something you can look at instead of giving it to the freaking government. And it's just it's things like that. That's one thing I feel like I've been really blessed with throughout life is him being able to teach me those little things that I thought were so stupid at the time. But now that I'm older, that has saved me a lot of headache. And building the chicken houses was one thing that taught me a lot about all that. Like, you really have to watch people. I had a guy that was here that was doing dirt work, and the original bid to do it, which it was a lot of work, was like, I'm trying to remember, it was like 30,000, I think. By the time he got done, he didn't know what he was doing. He told us he had a partner, all this stuff. He comes in, does it, gets done, doesn't even get finished, and tries to charge 82,000. And like it was, and he thought, I mean, he had a lawyer there with him, like trying to reason like everything about this was right. And I was like, man, you're ignorant. I could have done this 3 times over. I could have built 3 more sets for what you're trying to charge. And I mean, dude, it went forever. Finally, he dropped it. I mean, we got lawyers involved and did everything, And but it's just like little things like that. And I mean, to some people, and it's sad to say, but some people would have just paid it.
Oh, for sure. I'm probably people. You're looking at people right here. I get in those positions. I think too, like, I don't know. So, I think in business sometimes I worry about what people think about me in general. But like, there are people out there who'll try to scam you, and you have to remember that some of these people ain't your friend, and they will try to take advantage of you. But like, I think the way that I grew up, we struggled so much financially and everything. Like, I worry that like if I'm presented with a situation like that, well, they're just gonna see through it like, oh, he's trailer trash or whatever. Like he could never afford in it. And I think that's where I like
Yeah.
get caught sometimes is like I'm trying to like please everybody and that does screw me over in business sometimes is that like just that remembering like how I grew up and like how like dude I remember I brought this up at Christmas my mama and like dude our house had fucking holes in the floor like fucking like we didn't have people over just because like it was you know and we had these vacuum salesmen come over to our house and I'm like what the fuck were they coming to our house for and they were trying to sell us this Kirby vacuum and I could tell that they were uncomfortable being in the house because our house was so bad dude like about to fall down and they're selling my mom this fucking vacuum that's like $3,000.
Rainbow.
I
Oh,
don't
it
know
was
what
a
it was,
rainbow.
probably.
I
Was
guarantee
it?
it.
And all I remember was it was $80 a month. And my mom fucking bought that shit, dude. And I'm like, I remember being like 7. I'm like, Mom, what are you fucking doing, dude? Like, what about the electric bill and everything? And I remember just thinking to those people, I'm like, dude, there was all kinds of fucking houses on the trip. How'd you come to our house, dude? Like, what made you think these people had the fucking money for that vacuum cleaner, dude? Fuck you guys, man. But then, like, obviously, like, I don't remember what happened, but obviously my mom we couldn't afford the vacuum cleaner. Like, push come to shove, it's an extra 80. Dude, like, I think our rent was like $200
Yeah.
a month, dude. You got a vacuum cleaner that's 50% of your fucking mortgage, bro. Like, you can't fucking pay for that shit. And so I think just like growing up like that, I was like, I never want to put myself in a position where like, I buy something and then I can't follow through with it. And so I think in those positions, like I always like shoot myself in the foot sometimes because like I'll overcompensate because of that, and I'll either not buy the thing that I could get, or I'll go in and pay for it in full. You know what I mean? Just like I want to avoid like the whole confrontation aspect of the whole financial, but and probably sometimes that's not good. Maybe it is a good thing. Like I paid off a lot of debts, when some of those songs came out, and I was really grateful for that. But yeah, man, that's always been tough for me. I'm
Yeah.
still learning
I love
too.
that part
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the
no.
learning. Like the
Yes.
negotiation.
I love
Oh,
it.
really?
I argued with a guy over a rainbow vacuum for 3 hours just because he made me mad, and I made him leave. After I told him, he called his boss 3 times. But yeah, buying like dealing like with cars, like buying cars. Like I would buy wrecks, rebuild them, turn around, flip them, and
Yeah.
sell them and stuff like that. Like doing deals. God, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Like I love negotiating.
There's definitely a
Oh,
high
it's
with
so
it, you know what I
fun.
mean? It's
Like
yeah.
I love pushing somebody to the point of almost pissing them off. Like this is so fun just to see it in their eyes. They hate you,
Oh, dude, you do good.
but
at
they
that
like.
sometimes, man.
But dude, I love that. I love it. It's just something about it. And I'm like, there's one thing I always said: when I try and sell something, I'm not your friend. Like I'm not, unless I am your friend. Then I'm not gonna try and do it.
Yeah.
But like if I'm gonna sell something, I know what it's worth, and I'm not gonna take another 500 off just because you drove here. I'll price it high enough to come off a little bit to make you think that that you're getting a better deal. But most of the time, I'm never pricing it at the top of the market price anyways. So I always have it lowered by about $2,000. That way I can take another $500, $600, maybe $1,000 off. And then you're getting a really good deal, but I'm still making money, But I love doing stuff like that. I love it. I could do that all day long. I could sit on a phone and do deal negotiations, I swear to God, and have a lovely day.
You'd make a good telemarketer.
No, I wouldn't. I would not do that.
I couldn't do sales at all.
Doing sales? No. But doing the negotiation part, I like that part. But like sitting there doing, oh my
No
God,
way.
I accidentally typed my phone number in, trying to get a quote. So there was like a deal, on a vehicle, and I was like, I just wonder what that deal is. So I was like, you have to type in your information. I was like, they'll call me, and I just want to.
Yeah.
Dude, those
Yeah.
people have called me 18 times. Oh
That's the
my
shit,
gosh! I was like, I
I'm in
just
the
wanted
process
to
of
know
changing.
what you wanted for that SUV.
Yeah. I'm in the process of changing my car insurance. But every website I go on, you have to put in your phone number or
Dude.
email to do it. And I'm like, dude, if there's just a fucking way I could do this, because they'll call you till you're fucking
Yeah.
dead. Like you'll literally be dead for a week. They'll be leaving voicemails. Hey, you still trying to change your
Yeah.
contract?
Gotta go to
Like,
Reed Brothers.
bro, I'm dead.
I died last week.
Well, how'd you answer the phone? I don't know. I just answered to tell you that I'm dead.
Oh man.
You gotta go to
Dude.
Reed Brothers for that. Yeah.
For insurance?
Oh my
Car
gosh.
insurance?
Yeah, they gave.
Is that
Yes.
good? You getting a back end deal on it?
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah.
right
They said it's mad on the tires.
now. Taking the back door. Here at Reed Brothers, we take the back.
We take the back roads.
We take the back door car insurance.
They gave me the best. They gave us the best deal that yeah, we got anywhere else. But I mean, it could be just for us.
That's who I
We
have.
took the back door, didn't we? But, you know.
All I know is Geico pissed me
I have
off.
Progressive.
Oh, they pissed me
That's
off.
who it
man.
is. But it's through that Reed Brothers. Is who
Yeah,
it's
they
through.
pissed me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I'm actually gonna go get a quote worked up. Because somebody
You
I
hear that,
know
Reed
went
Brothers?
to actually went to Farm Bureau, and theirs was like way cheaper than Reed Brothers was.
Reed Brothers. You better
Insane.
beat that. You better beat
But
that.
I've been with Reed Brothers for
Yeah.
years, and they were cheaper than anybody at the top. Like could not
Yeah.
touch it.
It seems like now insurance.
Also, I gotta say that Geico can say nothing about that because I do have lawyers, and what they did to me, I would win. You better not fucking
Just go
try to
ahead and
come
air it
for some
out.
shit. Listen, it was fuck those guys, man.
Stupid Kirko.
Yeah, exactly. That's all I gotta say about that. Dude, I gotta piss so bad. Like I told y'all how bad I had to piss long up here. I'm like 3 minutes away from pissing again like that. You got a bottle.
Well, heck.
Dude, we've been going for 3 hours and a half. 3.5 hours.
We just pull a Rogan.
Yeah, we pulled. Yeah,
Just to protect our
yeah, we
partner.
gotta go for 5 for that one. Yeah,
Right.
dude. I mean, we can call it right there. You got a piss. Well, I know you have to. You've been sitting there and drank 2 skis.
Well, you gave me. I was fine until you gave me the ski, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Fine, dude.
Chase, dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. For real, I do. It means a lot to us.
It's
And
been awesome.
for anybody, well, I'm sure that the majority of you that will listen to this will probably come from Chase's socials and things. So you will know who he is besides some of you.
You might have a TikTok.
I might, dude. I've done it before. I'll do it again. But
Yeah, no, dude. We definitely appreciate it, man. We're proud of you too, dude.
yeah, we are, for real.
Freaking awesome.
Seriously.
Dude, you
It's awesome what
overcome
you've done.
all these odds, and now look at you, and happy to call you a friend. So,
Thanks, man. Same here, dude. We grew up together, and I'm proud of what y'all doing. I think it's really cool, man. Just keep fucking doing it. And persevere, baby. Hey, if you need some money, call
Yeah.
us. You know what I mean?
He's running into chiropractic money now. He's got a little bit of that
Yeah.
coin rattling around.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, we appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next one.
yep. See ya.